Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Please be informed that this session is recorded, so please keep your microphone and camera turned off throughout the session. The Q&A session will be at the end of every presentation, so alternatively, you may also type in your question in the chat box. So let's wait for another few minutes for everyone else to join this virtual event. We will start our event at exactly 9 a.m. Thank you. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to everyone. Yang berusaha, Professor Dr. Shaliza Ibrahim, Associate Vice Chancellor, Research and Innovation of Universiti Malaya. Yang berusaha, Professor Dr. Saiful Anwar Karsani, the Acting Coordinator of Research Cluster, who is also the Dean for Frontiers of the Natural World Research Cluster. Distinguished Deans and Deputy Deans of Research Clusters and Faculties, Director of Academies and Centres, Honourable Representatives from Government Agencies and Industry Partners, students and staffs from Universiti Malaya and other universities, distinguished researchers, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Research Cluster Office, I would like to express our gratitude to the audience for tuning in today. Despite your busy schedule, thank you for dialing in today for our second day of the Universiti Malaya Grand Challenge and Frontier Research Grand Symposium 2021. My name is Valerie and I'm your host this morning. So without further ado, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Saiful Anwar Karsani, who is the Acting Coordinator of Research Cluster, for the welcoming remark. Over to you, Professor Saiful.
Okay. Thank you, Val. Assalamualaikum. Selamat pagi. Can you hear me clearly? Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me, Val? Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Okay. So again, welcome everyone to the second day of our Universiti Malaya Grand Challenge and Frontier Grand Symposium. So we had some very good presentations and some very fruitful discussions, I think, where people were actually able to connect with one another and possibly in the future come up with proposals following this discussion that we had yesterday, the symposium. Now, one of the aims of the research cluster is to foster multi, inter, and transdisciplinary research. So in organizing events such as this one, where we have researchers from multidisciplinary backgrounds come together and present their work in a format that is understandable to everyone, we hope that eventually there will be communication between our researchers and come up with multidisciplinary and even transdisciplinary research. It's always been a challenge to get people together from different disciplines, trying to listen to each other's work. And I hope that with this kind of events, like we had yesterday, that can be achieved. So today we have another group of outstanding presenters, outstanding researchers, and hopefully again we can benefit from the presentations and possible discussions that will ensue following it. So thank you very much and have a good one. Thank you, Val. Back to you.
Thank you, Prof. Saiful. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great pleasure to invite our distinguished Professor Dr. Shaliza Ibrahim, the Associate Vice Chancellor, Research and Innovation of Universiti Malaya, for the opening remark of our event today. Prof. Shaliza, over to you. We would like to apologize for the technical glitches. Please give us a moment.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Prof.
Yes, Prof. Shall I start?
Yes, over to
Okay.
you, Prof. Shaliza.
Thank you again, Val. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning, everyone. And welcome to day 2 of the Universiti Malaya Grand Challenge and Frontier Research Grand Symposium. I would like to thank all of you for being here today. And we are proud to be able to host this event with all of you. I'm honored to attend the symposium today and thank you for inviting me and to address themes such as world without conflict, pushing economic borders, eco-resilient cities, sustainable resources and technology, pure sciences, computer science, data analytics and big data, and engineering and medicine. It has a special meaning to me because I still remember the workshop that we did several years ago in brainstorming for some of these topics that are, so I'm very happy to see that these projects have come to fruition and in these 2 days you have been able to show the fruits of those research projects. A grand challenge and frontier research is not just about achieving academic excellence or overcoming challenges, but utilizing knowledge and innovation to improve the well-being of the society as a whole. Our world is quickly evolving with the development of new technologies and challenges, evidence-based knowledge, and is needed to solve issues such as climate change, poverty and equality, and currently COVID-19. We believe that with the multi, inter, and transdisciplinary research that the Grand Challenge endorses, we can have a significant impact on solving these problems with tailored interventions. And before we get started, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to all of you who generously helped us to make this event come together to become a success. Research Cluster Office as the host, the speakers, industry partners, and moderators for all their contribution. I'm most grateful to all the speakers and panelists for the symposium for sharing your invaluable knowledge, experience, and insights to inspire our young minds. We will need to reach out to new partners and need to re-engage and build trust across the board. I look forward to your help, your support, and your ideas. Have a great and enjoyable symposium today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Shaliza, for gracing our event today. Okay, so without further ado, let's begin. Please welcome our first moderator for today, Associate Professor Dr. Juan Juching, who is also the Deputy Dean, Frontiers of the Natural World Research Cluster. Over to you, Dr. Juan.
Morning, everyone.
Morning, Doctor.
First, I would like to welcome everyone to these sessions, as mentioned by Prof. Shaliza. Okay, so we have today we have 5 speakers from different faculties in Universiti Malaya, from different research grant, which is 2. One is UM Grand Challenge and UM FRG. So also very fortunate today, I received that the news that we have some participation from industries. For example, we have participation from the Bahagian Pembangunan Kesihatan Keluarga, represented by Dr. Rokia. Then we also have the what we call Cawangan Sekretariat Majlis Penasihat dan Perundingan Warga Emas Negara from Ms. Nurliza. Then we have the CEO from the UMCH Technology Sdn Bhd, Mr. Teo. Then we have Dr. Noor Azmi Alias from the Talent Development and Johor Initiative Collaborative Research in Engineering, Science and Technology. And then we have TS Muhammad Rufti, who is a Senior Consultant IP and Commercializations from Technology Park, Malaysia. We want to also welcome all our industry participants here. So without further delay, we have to invite our first speaker, Dr. Nurin Wahida, right? She is the recipient of our UM Grand Challenge grants under the Sustainable Resource and Technology. Her project entitled Biomass Ester-Based Lube Oil for Fuel Economy Internal Combustion Engines. So let us welcome Dr. Nurin. So pass to you, Dr. Nurin.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Juan. Let me try to share my slide first.
So I want to remind all the speakers, you are given 50 minutes and then 5 minutes Q&A sessions. Thank you very much.
Okay, can you see my slide now? It's all good or?
Thank you. Yeah, I can see you.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum and very good morning to everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Associate Professor Dr. Juan Chunching. First of all, I would like to thank the Research Cluster Office, IPPUM, for giving us opportunity for this sharing session. Before I start, I also would like to credit late Professor Sharif Fahmi for coining this project in 2014. She was the original project leader. So today, I will share with you guys on our finding on this biomass ester-based lube oil for marine two-stroke engine application. So this is our team members. It consists from me, Dr. Nurwaida Zulkifli from Department of Mechanical Engineering, and then we have Dr. Lee Hui Voon from NanoCAD, and then we also have Dr. Wage for Sub DC3, and then we have Professor Dr. Rafi'i Johan. So the project overview, we already have this project for 6 years, I think almost 6 years. from September 2014 until December 2020. So the first sub-GC led by me, we're looking on the formulation and blending of this ester-based lube oil for the internal combustion engine, and also carry some final product testings. And then we have a sub-GC2, which led by Dr. Lee, looking at the producing this ester-based oil and then using catalyst assisted. For the sub-GC3, producing this antioxidant, and then sub-GC4 producing this smart nano friction modifier. Throughout this project, we managed to produce 7 PhD students and also 6 master students with around 30 top tier publication. And also we have 2 IPR, which is the first one is on the graphene quantum dot as lubricant modifier, which is the anti-wear additive. And then also we had this method for preparing these semi-carbazones. So it is estimated the total world energy consumption will be increased by 33% from 2010 until 2030. Such a soaring in the energy consumption are affiliated with this fossil fuel, of which today majority of the lubricant products sold are commercially from this petroleum base. So in particular, this petroleum-based two-stroke oil possess a great risk to the environment through the air pollution, which is the smoke generated during the engine oil combustion, and also leakage of the toxic engine oil that damage the bodies of water from river, lake, or sea. So we come out with this solution is the application of this bioester lubricant as an alternative to the conventional 2T mineral, as regarded as more environmentally friendly lube. So in this project, we're looking on using the waste organic material as the potential feedstock. So even in the world, people already move to electric vehicle or engine, and then we cannot deny the usage of ICE in the Southeast Asia region is still big. So majority of the ICE is either 4-stroke or 2-stroke. However, the 2-stroke engine is still being widely used due to their high power to weight ratio. It's cheaper to own. It have a low maintenance cost and also more durable, especially for the fishermen. So these 2T engine oil are required to act as a lubricant within the engine, are currently dominated by this mineral-based oil petroleum, which is harmful to the environment. So this is the 3 main features of our product. The first one is the 2T oil lubricant derived from this waste palm fatty acid distillate, which is more environmental friendly and readily compatible of the 2T engine. It also can reduce the emission of this harmful particulate matter, which is normally derived, which normally have in this mineral oil. And then we have this nano anti-wear additive as an alternative solution to the ZDDP, which is being used widely in formulated oil as a friction modifier and also antioxidant. Burning of this ZDDP will give the rise to the ashes that contribute to the particulate matter formation in this exhaust emission. In addition to that, we also have this multi-potent antioxidant that perform better, that can be utilized in this elevated temperature environment. So this throughout this project, we have 2 main stakeholders, which is the Malaysian Palm Oil Board, where they supply this PFAD, and also they offer on this pilot scale reactor. And then also we have this Bright Oil Stars Medan Berhad, where they provide us the commercial ester base oil for the blending purposes, and also to provide these commercial additive packages. So the output, the invention, we'll talk a bit detail on this. We successfully converted this waste palm fatty acid distillate to diester base oil throughout this hydrogenation reaction. It yields up to around 80 to 90%. And then we produce this sulfated iron oxide with alumina support, which this catalyst had a moderate amount of acidic active sites and also high BET surface area. It has also an excellent reusability. So it maintaining this 80% of or 80 to 90% conversion up until after 5 cycle. So you can see this is the raw product PFAD. Then we heat it up to become the melted product. Then we do this esterification hydrogenation reaction to get this nice color of this PFAD. This PFAD satisfied all three Dassault two-stroke engine oil requirement, which is the sulfated aqueous content, the flash point, and also the kinematic viscosity. So generally, we use this graphene is a 2D material layer, which is made up of this densely packed thin layer hybridized carbon atom arranged in this honeycomb structure. It has an excellent transparency, flexibility, change carrier mobility, and thermomechanical properties, which attracted the interest as many in many researchers. However, the use of graphene is inhibited due to their poor dispersive stability and ability. So the graphene tendency to agglomerate in the base oil, it will result in poor dispersion, stability, and ability, limits its effectiveness as this friction modifier. The large area of this surface area cause the agglomeration and strong van der Waals forces between the layer. And agglomerated graphene form a sediment in the bottom of the suspension at a significant rate due to the gravity. So that's why we have this, we try to functionalize this graphene oxide. So we functionalize this graphene oxide with this alkylated amine, which is synthesized using the traditional method. This GO then fabrication of functionalized amine with this molybdenum disulfide composite. So we get this AgO MOS2. We found that the addition of this composite nanoparticle directly improve the tribological properties, which is the friction and wear, which lead to more efficient engine operation. Next, we produce this multi-potent antioxidant that can withstand high temperature, was synthesized by improving the free radical scavenging capacity of new system of multi-potent antioxidant. It comprised of hindered phenol, aromatic amine, and thioether as a secondary antioxidant. The synthesized antioxidant is mixture of the semi-carbazine bearing, which is bearing BHT. So it's actually a derivative from BHT, which is the common antioxidant. So basically, we carry out a further testing. We look into, because antioxidant is quite the synthesized antioxidant quite expensive. So we try to mix with this natural antioxidant, which is environmental acceptable, which is derived from this rice bran derivative, and then it can have this withstand thermo-oxidative and degradation, low cost, and also good oxidative stability. So then we blend this one and it will produce the cost-effective and also high oxidative stability with 50% eco-friendly material and less amount of antioxidant needed. So then we look on our finding. The first one is a better tribological friction and wear performance. So you can see from this, in our invention produce less COF, which is less COF mean less friction, which is better compared to the commercial 2T engine oil. So we get around 0.08 and the commercial get around 0.09. In addition to that, we also get less wear scar diameter, mean less metal to metal contact. For GC, our GC product, for our invention, we get around only 482 micrometer compared to the commercial 2T around 700 micrometer. So now we look on the combustion characteristic. We try to set up our 2T outboard engine into this water tank. We run it at idle speed, quarter throttle opening with 1 liter premix. So based on that, you can see we tested, we look on the spark plug. The top one is the mineral-based 2T oil, which is the group 2 base oil. It has a high carbon deposit with the wet characteristic, which is not good, and this can cause to the engine failure compared to our product with the PFAD ester base oil. It has low carbon deposit, much cleaner, as you can see here. It has a dry characteristic and it can have a better long life spark plug life. So then also we carry out the water sample analysis. This water, we measure the nitrate, we get lesser than the commercial one. The sulfate almost similar, and the pH also maintained throughout the test. And then we have also lower in terms of total solid in the water. So this is the impact of the society. We will be, by switching this, the smoke opacity can reduce. Then also in the economy, we also can have this, we can increase the fuel economy, will gain the market by usage of its own usability, and also the main drive of driving force of popularity shall be the prices of ester. As a nation, we are the major exporters of the product. Utilization of palm oil, in this case PFAD, can further increase the profitability of this crop. Moving forward, we need the future direction. This project was significantly hindered due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It can be achieved through collaboration and participation of the local fishermen in our continuous evaluation program, where we'll provide 2T in return of their feedback, focus on cheaper and large synthesize of ester-based oil antioxidant and also friction modifier. So the future partner that we're looking on, maybe the chemical manufacturing company and also the government agency. So this is some the newspaper cutting on 2T based in October 2019, and the appendix on this Gold Award winner on the 4th World Invention Academic Conference. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nurin, for this interesting sharing. So I will invite the question from the audience. If any question from the audience, I will start with one question first. Which is the lubricant oil that you have produced? So far, do you talk to the industry? Because again, we have some industry partner here. do you manage to talk to any industries pertaining to this technology to be further developed or commercialized?
We haven't talked. We have like MPOB as our collaborator, but we haven't talked in very much detail on the uh, commercialization because yeah, we still have to have some on the testing, field testing that we did not fulfill yet. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you very much, Dr. Nurin. Those are interested parties. You can contact Dr. Nurin. You can look for her in the website and so on. Okay, thanks, Dr. Nurin. So we have our second speaker, Professor Dr. Siti. He is the recipient of FRG. The project that he's going to share is entitled Quantum Information Transport in Complex Optical Network using a Quantum Stochastics Walk Formalizations. So the floor is yours. Actually, I don't understand the title at all, Prof. Siti. Thank you very much, Dr. Siti.
Okay, I'll share the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see the screen. Can you turn to the presentation mode? Yes, good.
Okay.
Now it's
all right. Okay,
yeah,
thank you very much, Dr. Johan. And also, very good morning to everyone. I would like to share with you some exciting research, fundamental research in the field of quantum information. So this is a FRG grant and collaboration work with Dr. Chong Wu Yi from Photonic Research Center. I will try to focus on three essential themes that why we would like to study this problem and what is this quantum walk all about, and then so what's the use of this quantum walk. So this will be the content of this presentation. All right. If we can recall from a high school, physics, when we were introduced to modern physics, it essentially starts around 1900. And during this time, there were two major developments in the field of physics, or even in the physical sciences. First is the quantum theory, and then the second one is the relativity, Einstein's relativity. So the first quantum revolution essentially created a major shift from the classical physics that we are so used to concepts that seems to define the reality. So the quantum reality that we shocked with includes the idea like particle can behave like waves, particles can tunnel through barriers, quantum particle can exist in a different state simultaneously, such as, the famous metaphor is the Schrodinger cat, which can exist in a dead and alive state. But these are completely, intriguing and very remote from our everyday's experience. But nevertheless, quantum revolution 1, or the first quantum revolution, have created a major shift in our understanding of nature, and also contributed to the development of various applications, which include lasers, semiconductors, and you cannot talk about computer without referring to the semiconductor technology. So the quantum revolution 2, or the second quantum revolution, is very much harnessing the properties of quantum systems to the next level, and this is very much driven by technology trend, such as the data explosion, the demand for very fast computers, secure communication system, cryptography, and also to sense very small changes, high sensitivity applications. So quantum revolution 2 essentially is information driven, computing driven, and it started about 30 years ago. Many countries have put up national master plan to take advantage of this explosion of new technology based on quantum properties. So you can see from this graph on the right the amount of investment that has been put into worldwide, essentially focusing on the three major areas, that is quantum computing, the need for very powerful computer to solve hard problem, large number of data, and then quantum cryptography for the quantum communication, secure quantum communication, and quantum sensing for detection of very weak signal or even intrusion system. So the market projection is huge. So what is actually driving this investment and also the anticipation of applications. So this is very much driven by the quantum information processing. So the classical computers essentially uses the 0-1 state, the binary bits, either 0 or 1. So 0 is no current in the transistor, and 1 is when the transistor opens up, the gates open, then you have current. So manipulating this 0 and 1, you can build computers and you can manipulate information, and also you can transport this information. So I'm talking to you now from a remote place. Thanks to these 0-1s, you are actually hearing me, seeing me, and perhaps the data are being stored in the hard disk. So moving from classical information to quantum information, we are using the one of the exciting properties of quantum system, that is, if you have different systems in a different states, you can actually have a superposition of these states. So these are called quantum superposition of states, and it gives you these quantum bits in contrast to the classical 0-1. Qubits can have the 0 and 1. The big difference is from the 0 or 1, it goes to 0 and 1. In fact, you can get a large number of different states by manipulating this 0 and 1 with a different composition of zeros and 1. So that gives you a huge resources for computing and also to encode information. So that's the basic idea of quantum qubits. So how do you realize these qubits? There are many ways to realize these qubits. You can use the single photons property. Photons are the quantum light. So the classical light that we see is the electromagnetic wave, continuous energy. But when you have a quantized energy, essentially that is your quantum light. And quantum light have various properties that you can manipulate to encode information. For example, if it oscillates in certain plane, you can have that polarization state, horizontally polarized like that, or vertically polarized like this. You can also have the number of photons in that particular state, whether there is a photon or there is no photon. So all these possibilities that are being provided by quantum systems, and there are huge effort to to identify and to manipulate various quantum systems in order for quantum encoding or information encoding. So once you can do this, you already have the huge resources for performing computing and also information processing. So that is the basic idea of quantum information processing. You need quantum bits, and then you need the ability to control these bits for your intended purpose. So going to the communication theory, what you need is the initial sender. You need the channel, the communication channel, and you need a receiver. So when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to my computer. The camera captures the information, transfer this through the optical fiber or electrical cables. and it reaches you, and you can actually see me because of that receiving end. So the similar idea applies to quantum communication, but now the encoding is done using the qubit systems. And this system has to be propagated through the channel. That is the basic idea. But this doesn't come easy, because quantum system is very sensitive to noise and environment. So we're going to use a system that we can use as the basis for achieving this operation. It's called the quantum walk formalism. So in contrast to classical system, quantum system exhibit behavior that sometimes defies our real life experience, such as the quantum superposition of two trajectories that you see here. Okay, so just a quick recap. Classical walk is very common. This is very much like a diffusion, where the particle can start at one position here. If you can see my cursor, when you toss a coin, you get head or tail. If it's head, you move to the right or left, vice versa if you get tail. And if you perform this over different steps in time, you obtain this random walk. And the distribution of this random walk is very much centered. This is the idea of classical walk. But for quantum walk, the idea has to be generalized to incorporate the quantum behavior of the particle. So what we have is the quantum initial state, and then the coin is the one that acts as the tossing of that probability. But in this case, the coin's purpose is instead of introducing probability, the coin essentially mix up all the states to produce the superposition of all the states. So once you get these states, you evolve the state using a shift operator to the next level, and you carry on this, and you will obtain quantum walk. So if you look at the previous slides, you see that you have only one walker that can actually randomly move on in space. But if you look at the quantum walk instead, you have these different states in superposition, and when you shift it to the next time step, you create more states which are superimposed throughout the space. So this is almost like have a multi-search party. Compared to the random walk, you have one random walker wandering in space. Quantum walk is like having a many wanderers moving in a superposition in space. So this creates a spread. So the probability is very much spread over space instead of the localized in a classical walk. And this is a very powerful property. The properties that can be used to achieve speed up in an algorithm. So if you look at the quantum walk, it spreads faster compared to the classical walk. So the classical algorithm in search engine by and large are using classical random Markov chain or random walk. So imagine if you have a quantum walk for the quantum search engine, you'll be able to explore your search space much faster, and therefore the search properties are vastly improved. And this is being exploited in our work. So we study the system from the context of transport of information, and quantum walk gives us the speed up in search, in optimal transport, and also for various other applications. So that is the key point. So our research focused on the effect of noise on the quantum walker. So using a formalism, as I don't want to go into the detail, these are theoretical formalism widely used for studying quantum system interacting with the environment, which could be noise, thermal field, electromagnetic field. And this equation, the first term is for the pure walk without noise, and the contribution that comes from the interaction from the noise environment. So what we need to find
another
out,
5 minutes, yeah. Thank you.
Yes. What we need to do is to determine the density matrix that will be our quantity of interest. So in this work, we explored two formalism. We call the Krauss operator and also the quantum, stochastic formalism. Essentially depends on these two, this generalized master equation. That's why we call this equation. Okay. So we considered first the Krauss operator defined by this mapping that incorporates the effect of our noise term. For example, we consider the bit flip when you have the bit vertically up, and then when the noise, it can flip that randomly, it can flip with certain probability P, and this is our Krauss operator for that effect. And you can see from the left-hand side, this is the probability that I showed you. And you see the probability spread over position, but with the increase of the noise level, you can tune the probability distribution to go to the classical or to the quantum behavior. So the finding of this study is essentially to demonstrate tuning the quantum walk with noise. We are able to consider the advantage of this speed up in a more broader sense. That's something we call a quantum-like walk. So identified by this speed up in the MSD or the variance that I mentioned just now. So what are the potential applications? Of course, many of the applications that are anticipated is still has not been realized for practical application, but there have been a lot of demonstration, proof of concept worldwide, and the race is on. People are trying to demonstrate the supremacy of quantum technology, and I think we also do not want to be left out. So one of the applications that we are considering is to use the existing fiber optic channel to send a classical signal, classical light, but we also send the quantum information as a kind of encoded message, and we see how does the classical signal contribute towards the noise interference in the quantum information. That is one work which we are looking into at the moment, thanks to this FRG project. The second one is the optimal transport in systems such as photosynthesis, light harvesting devices, where you can see that the leaf essentially use a quantum transport to enhance the transport of energy to the reaction center. So this can be modeled as part of a network. And this quantum walk actually happens on this network from the harvesting complexes to the reaction site. And this can be modeled using stochastic walk as well. And I don't want to go into the detail, but you can see at the lower end, we demonstrated that the population at the vertex showed similar behavior to the quantum walk that I've showed before. So this is a very exciting field. Trying to mimic how the humble leaf, which is almost 100% efficient in light conversion, but our photo cells could not achieve efficiency even up to the 30 or 40%. So these studies hopefully will contribute towards this optimal behavior. And this is just to highlight that the simulation of the excitation at different sites. Pure quantum transport, everywhere there are probability presence, but in an incoherent, noisy transport, various, excitation happens very localized in sites. So this is one of the potential applications for the future that we are exploring. So industry are picking up on this quantum technology. You can see there are three segments. The hardware is very costly, multi-million-dollar investment. Only a few countries are able to invest. Few big companies like Google, Amazon are able to invest on this. But many emerging startups are appearing on the software level. And this is where I think Singapore is also leading in ASEAN region, and Malaysia could play a role. But look at the application sector. all the names that are very familiar to us are potential client to quantum technology, and they are investing as well. So the message from this study and also this project is, we have been exposed to this 30 years ago when MIMOS and few other agencies trying to promote quantum information, but it has not really taken root. The effort is very scattered in this country, but many countries have a national roadmap for quantum science. China is leading with billion-dollar investment, and in ASEAN region, Singapore is one of the hotspots for quantum technology. And yesterday we had a talk from Thailand, someone from Thailand, who also showed that the country is picking up on quantum technology and getting ready. Okay, so thanks to FRG grant, we managed to embark on this a couple of years ago. Now we are training FYP students, PhD students. We managed to get the FRG grant to support the optical fiber project, and I hope that there will be more effort, collaborative effort from Malaysian researchers working in related areas, and perhaps also highlight a focus from agencies to prepare the nation for this competitive, very highly privileged technology. Only a few.
Prof, I have to stop you for a while. It's over the time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, I'm ending. Actually done. Okay, thank you, Dr. Juan.
Thank you for a very interesting talk. Now I understand a bit about the quantum theories and quantum what I call networkings. So any questions from the floor? I would like to invite one questions. If no, then I would like to thank Prof. Siti for sharing. Again, if you have any questions or further discussion with Prof. Siti, please do contact Prof. Siti. She is very kind and very friendly person. Okay, you may contact him anytime. Thank you. So I'll move to our next speaker, Professor Nosmawati. She is the recipient of FRG. The project is entitled Inhibitory Receptor Pathway Blockage as a Potential Cancer Therapies. The floor is yours, Prof. Please be reminded you are given 50 minutes and 5 minutes Q&A. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I hope I can share my presentation.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you see it?
Yes, Prof.
Okay. I've also got a recording, so just let me know if it doesn't come through. But what I would like to just mention, a very good morning, Assalamualaikum, a very good morning to everyone. So this is the title of my project. The one that I'm presenting this is actually our fourth manuscript that we've just recently submitted and got the reply for revision. So the title is the comparative expression of apoptotic and inflammatory signatures in chronic hepatitis B patients with and without liver cirrhosis. So these below are my co-researchers, and the PhD candidate doing this project is Bharatan Mataya. See whether I can move it. Hang on.
Prof.
Yeah.
Are you trying to put out the video or something?
Yeah. How do I do that? Is there a problem?
We can't hear you. I mean, we can't hear any video.
Okay. So maybe you can help me, because in Zoom I know how to do it, but is there a button I should press for this? Because in Zoom there is a sound. I've already shared screen, but how do I actually get the voice to come out? Is there any other mechanisms I have to do to make sure that it comes out, the voice?
Dr. Usmawati, just bawa your cursor to upper side at the top and then just allow the video, the computer audio.
Computer audio. I tak ada cursor on the top right hand side dan nampak yang you can do that. Yes, usually I have it.
Is the
but
three,
I can't.
is it the three dot? Is it the 3.123, the 3.123, the three dot? You click on. Okay. Is it any button that says pull up the video?
No, it just shows
the audio?
background enter full screen. Show device setting, is it? Okay, let me just try again.
You try again, please.
Because it says there I'm using the PC mic and everything.
Yep.
Ada apa lagi tak? Device setting and anything else? You can hear.
Sepatutnya tak ada, Doktor. You
Sepatutnya
just
tak ada,
can you just play the video first?
Okay, let me just share again ya.
Yep. You play the video first.
Kalau tak jalan juga, I will just go straight there. Hang on. So, hang on. Where is it? Now I can't even find the button to actually share screen.
Doctor, can you allow me to control your slide?
How do I do that?
Just click approve. I already request for control.
I can't see it. Oh, allow. Okay.
Okay, just press the slideshow button.
Can you see anything though?
I can see your slide, but I cannot. Yeah, now I can see.
Can you see?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Go back. Go back. Okay. Do this one. Can you start from there?
No video, isn't it? I cannot see any video here.
Not a video, but it's actually the PowerPoint has got a voice. Tak boleh tak nampak. Tak dengar.
No, I cannot see it.
Okay, never mind. Then I will start from the beginning. Just go to the previous slide, just very quickly. Oh, this is the So basically what I wanted to show was really to see the overall impact of hepatitis B worldwide. And I wanted to just make sure that people understand that what is actually currently available are just oral drugs which suppresses the virus. So we cannot cure hepatitis B unlike hepatitis C. So what's really needed is really to stress that we do need to find a better way to really predict those who are going to progress into cirrhosis and liver cancer. So the next few slides, I will just show the impact of hepatitis B in Malaysia. Next. So I can control my own slide, right?
Yes, Doctor. You can control by yourself.
So this shows the top 10 causes of death. And this is actually really showing cirrhosis is number 9 in terms of the cause of death. And what we actually want to actually really show here is the causes of cirrhosis, 46% is due to hepatitis B. So what I also want to show here is when you looked at how disease progressed, if you have got anything that causes liver damage, the first thing it does is the inflammation, injury, and it will progress in the same way, whether it's B, C, alcohol, or fatty liver. So when you have persistent liver injury, they will lead to liver scarring, what we call fibrosis. And over the years, the whole liver will be replaced by the scar tissue, and this is what we call cirrhosis. And eventually, cirrhosis will cause liver cancer. It is the most important cause of liver cancer. Okay, so the next slide shows that in Malaysia, the top cause of liver cancer from this study from UMMC shows that hepatitis B account for about 59% or more recently 51% of hepatitis of liver cancer. And you can also see at the bottom one that we are seeing a lot more people with liver cancer due to fatty liver, or what we call cryptogenic cirrhosis before, but now it's called NASH, or non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. So now it's about 36% of cases. A more recent study shows it's even going higher. So why I wanted to actually really change the project and emphasize on cirrhosis than ACC is because majority of liver cancers really arise from cirrhosis. So you can see from here that the liver cancer that we actually are seeing are already too late. We cannot do very much for those patients. So we have to catch them early, diagnose them early, and treat them early, even before they develop cirrhosis. So about the project itself, we know that cytokines play an important role in the chronicity of hepatitis B, but there's limited data on the mechanism of how it progresses to cirrhosis and ACC. So our previous study showed that there is differential cytokine found in hepatitis C, which led to apoptosis and immune cells. And in the study that has emerged recently, it showed that the profound differences in the cytokine is really not due to the liver cancer, it's due to the inflammation and fibrosis and cirrhosis itself. And that's why this research objective is really to look at the selected cytokine and chemokine profile among patients with hepatitis B with and without liver cirrhosis. So this one shows that at the top A and B shows significant reduction in the number of the healthy cells, what we call positive cells, and also the fluorescence MMP in hepatitis B with or without cirrhosis. So you mean overall they have reduction, but more so in patients with cirrhosis. So the bottom figure here shows significant increase in the number of the positive annexin 5 and also ROS in chronic hepatitis B patients with cirrhosis compared to those without cirrhosis. So overall, it shows a significant apoptosis and oxidative stress in chronic hepatitis B patients.
Sorry, doctor, we're losing your voice. I think your voice is breaking up.
Is it my internet? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, hang on. What about now? This here, this table shows higher plasma levels of pro-inflammatory cytokine from chronic hepatitis B patients with cirrhosis compared to healthy controls. So here, what you can see here is the pro-inflammatory cytokines, TNF-alpha, IL-17A, IL-16, as well as the 4 2 and interferon gamma. So this slide shows the higher plasma levels of TNF alpha, IL-17A, and IL-6 from chronic hepatitis B with liver cirrhosis compared to those without cirrhosis. So in what has been shown previously is IL-17A has been shown to play a critical role in the pathogenesis of liver fibrosis through hepatic stellate cell activation, suggesting that if we block the IL-17A, it could potentially benefit hepatitis B patients so that it doesn't progress to cirrhosis and liver cancer. So in this slide, you can see higher expression of CCL2, CCL5, VEGF in chronic hepatitis B patients with or without cirrhosis compared to the control, suggesting that the chemokines might contribute to liver inflammation in chronic hepatitis B. So here, we want to show you that the expression of enzyme B in chronic hepatitis B with liver cirrhosis is lower compared to the controls. But there are differences between the patients with cirrhosis and those without cirrhosis, implying that there might be a potential role of immunotherapy to restore hepatitis B specific T cell responses. So this is our research output. So these are the publications which have been published in Tier 1 and in Tier 3, and this current work has been submitted for publication in microbial pathogenesis. We have 3 students who have worked in this project. Not all of it are for their thesis, but some of these have helped. 1 PhD and 2 Masters of Medical Science, and one of them had a distinction for his project. So we have several networking as shown here, and a few more that are not included. Okay, so the future direction is really looking at the role of immunotherapy to cure chronic hepatitis B, or at least reduce the risk of progression to cirrhosis and subsequently liver cancer. Apologize for the the sound, but I think.
Hello, Prof.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello.
You cannot see me?
Yeah, sorry, just now my mic is some problem with my computer, maybe due to the networking. Prof, very interesting talk by you. Any question from the audience? You may type your question in the chat box. I think Prof. Rosmawati will be very happy to try to answer your questions. Prof, I think this is a very good research. I just want to have one question, start with one question about these therapies. Is it the new type of therapy that haven't been commercialized or haven't been applied by others? We are the first one that are using this kind of work, Prof?
No, we're not the first, but in fact, some of the cytokines are new that we are looked at in a different profile. So what has happened in hepatitis B is there's exciting new clinical trials ongoing, but mostly at the most in phase 2, looking at the role of some of the immunotherapy. And even some which I have just been approached recently, the immunotherapy that's been used for liver cancer now has been applied even for hepatitis B, such as nivolumab. So these are some of the things which are going, before they were focusing only on liver cancer, but they realized that it's a lot more important to prevent the progression. So it's actually along the same path that we took in this project, that we need to really stop the progression to cirrhosis. Then only we can truly prevent liver cancer. So yes, there are really already new exciting things on the horizon, but not yet at the commercial level, because it's not even at the phase 3 clinical trial level.
Thank you, Prof, for very enlightening talks. We move to our second speaker. Right. Thanks again, Prof. Rosmawati. So we move to our next speaker, Professor Edmund Terence Gomez. So he is the recipient of UMGC from the World Without Conflict and Pushing Economic Borders. So he is going to share with us the project entitled Sustainable and Equitable Development in Southeast Asia and Latin America, Comparative Perspective. So Prof. Edmund, the floor is yours. Prof. Edmund.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. It's not Prof. It's Helena.
Oh, hi, Helena. So you represent Prof. Edmund, yeah? Yeah.
Yes.
Dr.
Yeah.
Dr. Hari.
National and Strategic Studies from the Faculty of Arts, and I will be presenting on Prof. Terence's behalf. He has recently retired.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking over just his presentation part lah. Can I just check if you can see my screen or not?
Yeah. Hey, hold on. Yeah, you are sharing the screen. Yeah, we can see your screen. Okay, now, yeah. Can you make into the presentation mode? Please, thank you. Yep, thank you very much. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So I'm following up from several FRGS grants that are very science focused. So our grant is a Grand Challenge grant. So we are interdisciplinary. So it'll be a bit different than what has already been presented, but I hope it will still be of interest to our audience today. So our Grand Challenge grant is all about comparing sustainable and equitable development in Southeast Asia and Latin America. Why we have focused on this, and we have also focused particularly, we are using oil palm as a case study for both regions. If you see the map that we are showing you here, the map has highlighted the areas or the countries that are oil palm producers. And you can see that oil palm grows commercially in a very specific area of the world along the equator, and in only very few countries actually. So we can see the main producing regions are Southeast Asia, Latin America, and Africa. But for our project here, we have decided to focus on Southeast Asia being the traditional commercial center of oil palm, and Latin America, which is currently the up and coming, the new area where oil palm development and oil palm establishment is going in a very fast pace. So we're comparing these two. So our GC is made up of 5 sub-projects, and you can see the spread here. We are interdisciplinary. Prof. Terence, who has economics background, his project is looking at business groups and how these business groups influence the market and also the establishment of commercial plantations. And Prof. Evelyn has been looking at trade in terms of palm oil world trade of the commodity. Myself, I'm an international relations background, and I'm looking at environmental governance of palm oil in both of these regions. Dr. Nazatul is engineering, and she's looking at biofuels and the application of biofuels across these two regions. Biofuels, of course, in the nature of palm oil as a biofuel. And Dr. Amira, she's from pharmacy, and she will be looking at the health effects, and especially about how increased palm oil consumptions will have effect on health in both regions. So basically, this program sets out to understand how the palm oil sector can be developed more sustainably, both scientifically and policy-wise,
in different contexts. We know that palm oil has a lot of controversy in terms of how sustainable it is. We know basic things like, for example, palm oil is the most efficient vegetable oil. So, for example, compared to soy or rapeseed, you need a smaller amount of land to grow, to produce much more palm oil compared to any of these other seeds. So in that way, it's more efficient. But there's a lot of other sustainability issues around, for example, deforestation, fires, and even human rights issues as well. So it's very important for us to look at this area because palm oil is very important in trade and in development, but at the same time, there's also this sustainability thing that's balancing things out, and we have to be careful not to trade off sustainability with our development. So the aims of our program, first of all, to examine how palm oil sustainability is evolving both in Southeast Asia, being the traditional area, and Latin America, which is the up and coming area. Also, we in this part of the world, we have to admit that we don't know much about Latin America. Latin America is not traditionally an area which has garnered much academic attention from us in Southeast Asia and especially Malaysia as well. So we hope that by looking into this comparative perspective, we can understand more about Latin American politics, society, and as well as science, and using palm oil as a lens. We also want to try to understand how both regions can complement each other as major producers of palm oil. There's already been some cooperation between Southeast Asia and Latin America. For example, the CPOPC, which is the Council for Palm Oil Producing Countries, where the major producing countries, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Colombia, have come together to sort of streamline their policies to promote palm oil around the world. But there's, of course, going to be much more opportunities if we try to figure out how we can complement each other. So over the past years, while we have been doing this GC, we've managed to gain a better understanding on on-the-ground differences between the two regions. And the most importantly, we understand that we cannot generalize between the two regions, even though we are geographically similar. However, there's a lot of societal differences and political differences that we have to be aware of. And also, of course, through working with our colleagues in Latin America, we have come to understand the complexities and challenges involved in working with people from different cultures. So this is a graphical abstract that has been taken from Dr. Nazatul's paper, which I think quite well represents all of our sub projects because it really shows the potentials for complementarity between the two countries. Her paper looks at Malaysia and Colombia in particular and on biofuels, but we can see here we have opportunities to cooperate in terms of infrastructure. Malaysia is quite more advanced in infrastructure and R&D on palm oil, so there's some opportunities there. However, Colombia is much more advanced in terms of biofuels, so there's opportunities for Malaysia there. Colombia is focused very much on has a lot of very advanced projects on sustainability like energy balance and carbon footprint that Malaysia can also learn from. In terms of cropping area, Malaysia has been quite successful in intensifying their crops, so we don't have as much area, but our area produces a lot more in terms of yield. So this is something that can be complementary as well. And trade is a shared issue between both regions, and as I mentioned, they have collaborated on that platform, CPOPC. And the common sort of challenge that both countries and both regions face is what is happening in many parts of the Western world, for example in EU, where there has been some attempts to put into policy limits on palm oil, especially in terms of biofuels. So a collaborative and joint approach to handle these threats, and not threats, but challenges moving forward as palm oil becomes increasingly important in these two regions for our development and our prosperity, becomes very strategic for us to try and manage. So this is the overview of all the projects. I won't go into details here, but I will go down the road. But you can see that our projects are all very different, but they all sort of tie into each other quite nicely. And this is one area where we hope to continue to complement each other as we continue our research beyond this GC project. So just a few of our outputs here. I want to just show how everything kind of connects together. So for example, this is from my sub project. So we have looked into palm oil governance in different locations in Southeast Asia and Latin America. So we have tried to look at how sustainability is understood in both of these regions. And to see where are the commonalities and where are the differences. What are the social structures that are different? What are the landholding governance regimes that are similar and different that can be learned from each other? So Malaysia, Indonesia, we have had a long history of grappling with this sustainability versus development. So we feel that Latin America, which is just coming into the market, becoming now only becoming a major player, there's very important perhaps mistakes that they can avoid, and at the same time also looking at new ways to solve problems that we have had trouble with. So this paper kind of explored that. Following from that, our trade subgroup has compared the trends of trade in these two regions. What was really interesting that we found here was that even though most of the oils that's produced in the countries are being exported, the destinations are very different. So for example, Southeast Asia, our destination is mostly to the EU, to the US, to India, to China. However, for Latin America, the destination of these exports, they remain within the region, they remain within the Latin America sphere. So this is very interesting because there are opportunities. That means that Southeast Asia, we are not actually taking full advantage of our regional markets. So there's a lot of things that we can learn from each other as well. Following from that is a biofuel paper which was developed by Dr. Nazatul and team, which connects that very nicely because it shows that, for example, the usage of biofuels is locally has been a good avenue for Latin America and Colombia in particular to increase what do you call this, local consumption of palm oil. So this is an opportunity for Malaysia to look at how Malaysia can also increase local consumption so that we are less reliant on export markets, which can be volatile. So this paper actually compared the two biofuel industries and has found that there's a lot of things that Malaysia can learn from Colombia. Malaysia's biofuel industry, even compared to Indonesia, is quite in its infancy at the moment. And lastly, I would like to talk about some research by our health group. And they had really interesting research looking at the health effects of palm oil. Palm oil traditionally has been associated with bad health effects. It has been said as unhealthy, but a lot of these things has already been debunked. But these are actually new research that's coming out that actually makes us look at palm oil a bit differently. So for example, one of the things that this research has found is that palm oil, when refried many times, can be dangerous for health. So what this means is it doesn't mean that palm oil is unhealthy, but when it's not used properly, when it's refried without any proper monitoring, this can be bad. And this will feed into how, let's say, MPOB or Malaysia markets palm oil. It is not an unhealthy oil, but there must be ways for us to use it in a particularly healthy manner. So this research actually revealed this, which is very important, I think, especially since both in Latin America and in Southeast Asia, the local consumption of palm oil is increasing, especially for roadside stalls and all this. So I'm finishing up here. So we've had a few programs that we have done for outreach. We have had conferences, we have had workshops, and we have been very lucky to be able to bring in some Latin American colleagues to be participants in these workshops. And we've also had community outreach activities talking about obesity and health awareness in the context of vegetable oil use. So in the future, we hope to integrate our research findings more closely with each other throughout the 5 sub-projects. And we are hoping to be able to have more collaboration with people like the Malaysian Palm Oil Board, universities and research labs based in Latin America, and also Latin American embassies in Malaysia. So these are some pictures of some of the workshops that we have held, which we also have some of our Latin American colleagues here. This is some pictures from our carnival, our health and obesity awareness activities. That is all from me. Thank you very much. Dr. Amira is also on
Hello,
screen.
thank you, Dr. Harina. Can you still hear me?
Yes, can.
Hello?
Dr. Amira, would you like to add
Harina,
anything?
please unmute yourself.
No.
Okay.
Hi, thank you so much, Dr. Helena. That's a great representation of what we do as a whole in the project.
Hello?
Oh, we can hear you, Dr.
Harina?
Juan.
Hello? Can you hear me, Dr. Harina?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So I would like to open for Q&A sessions. They have some technical issue on the chat box. So if you want to ask questions, you can unmute yourself, okay? And then you can ask the questions directly to the speaker. So if no further questions, I just wonder, okay? What is the next step, Dr. Helena? You have done a lot of work on these projects. What is the next for you, Dr. Helena?
Perhaps Dr. Amira, would
Can
you
you
like to?
unmute yourself, Dr. Helena? We can't hear you.
Dr. Amira, can you go ahead?
All right, thank you so much. Dr. Juan, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Amira, I can hear you, so maybe there's
okay.
Secretary, can you hear Dr. Harina? Or is my problem in my side?
It might be your side, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm just going to go forward with how can we actually apply on what we've gained so far on health in particular. Like Dr. Helena has mentioned, we are establishing how refrying and recycling the use of this oil is really giving detrimental effect to our health. So what we are doing now is we are approaching MPOB, for example, to improve labeling on the palm oil itself. While using it once is good, but how can we further inform the public on how this oil shouldn't be reused so many times, even though it's more cost efficient. Like labeling is one of the things that we are tackling. And secondly, we're also looking into collaborative work to look at potential therapeutic targets that can actually attenuate the detrimental effect of refrying oil by looking at antioxidant and a lot of, so we are also looking at into some natural product like mushroom that can be used, which has very strong antioxidant effect on our animal model that has been treated with refried oil. So that's where we are heading right now. A lot of collaborative work with the industry as well as other researchers.
Dr. Jan, you are muted, Doctor.
Thank you, Dr. Harina and Dr. Amira, for very inspiring talks that you've given to us today. Anything, please contact Dr. Harina and Dr. Amira. As we mentioned, Dr. Edmonds have retired, so they pass all the knowledge to Dr. Harina and Dr. Amira. If anything about this project, please contact both of them. Thank you very much. And to the again to the participants, we have some technical issue on the chat, so you can please unmute yourself and ask questions. So let's us move to our next speakers, our last speaker as well, Associate Professor Dr. Naziati Muhammad Yaakob. Okay, so he is going to present the project entitled Universal Design and Inclusive Society for the Built Environment. So this is under the UMGC Challenge. Research cluster is Eco-Resilient Cities. So the pass over to you, Prof.
Hello, Assalamualaikum and Salam Sejahtera.
Yeah, we can hear you, Prof.
Okay, I'm going to share the content. Let's see. Windows. There you go. May I ask whether you can see the slides, please?
Yes, Prof, we can see your slide. Yeah, yep. Can you turn into the presentation mode? Yes, yes, now, yeah.
Okay, I somehow started at the end. Wait, I'm going to go to the front. Okay.
Okay, yes.
May
okay.
I start, please?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for
Thank
the
you.
opportunity to present under eco-resilient cities. We're grateful for having to do this project. Under the topic of universal design and inclusive society for the built environment. Okay, there are 4 sub-programs, and it just happens that all the sub-programs leaders are from the Department of Architecture, but Dr. Hazrina is on landscape design and the others are similar to me. And we were asked about that, and after thinking about it and reflected about it, architecture is a applied science and applied technology sort of discipline. And in architecture, we have to deal with sociology, psychology, anthropology, sciences, because basically architecture is straddling between arts and science. So, okay, without further ado, these are the main topics that we dealt with: transportation, landscape design, community facilities, and tourism, all about accessibility on all these 4 topics. So the way I'm going to present this is a quick reflection and present what happened since 2014 when we first got this grant. So the issues regarding universal design and inclusive society for the built environment, we're trying to mainstream the issue of disability. So disability concept is an evolving concept that anyone could be disabled throughout their lives. You know, when you're a baby, you're kind of disabled, that you need help. And when you're an older person, having nursing care towards the end. But sometimes people get temporarily disabled, and sometimes people get impairments in their lives temporarily or permanently. So there's also the issue of the older person's issues, yeah? In the aging society, coming up to the aging society, we need to address this issue for older persons in terms of their environment, psychosocial environment, that also need to be considered by architecture. So in this program, we dealt with Kuala Lumpur City Hall, and we managed to do a MOA with them. But funny enough, during that time, 2014 to 2016, in those 2 years, we were doing more of the research, the focus groups and stuff. But only later, I will illustrate later how the local government adopted our intellectual property and actually built it. So other stakeholders that would be interested in this, the Ministry of Housing and Local Government, Ministry of Transport, and others, yeah? Professional bodies such as planners and architects and the built environment professionals, businesses that has to do with all this, and of course, social justice issues for the built environment, for the families, older persons, and persons with disabilities, and is basically a community engagement program or project. So when we talk about the built environment, we have the destinations between home and work environment, home and recreational facilities, home and religious buildings, you know, and there is also the one in the middle, which is sidewalks, pavements, crossings, sky bridges, and the street environment. So it is to do with a seamless connectivity between all this. So I'm going to take you back to the most recent thing that we've done. We actually presented this paper on accessibility barriers in tourism transport chain of rail transport. And this person is a graduate in Masters in Architecture just this year. And she presented this to the Asia Pacific Accessible Tourism Network, APNET, Asia Pacific Network on Accessible Tourism. And also the Ministry of Transportation. People were interested with this research. And also our PhD candidate, which was with us since the beginning in 2014, who is doing on neighborhood connectivity on the first and the last mile. And she will finish PhD soon. So these are the human capital. And this is the latest. Next. A bus stop. The bus stop design, I will show you the old one, and I think whether I have it, but this is the latest. Kuala Lumpur City Hall is building at Jalan Makruf our intellectual property, which is the universal design bus stop. There was version number 2. Version number 1 was built in front of College Kediaman 4 in Universiti Malaya. If you pass by there in the MRT route, you can see it. And we are in negotiation, still maybe an MOU under the Innovate UM program. We managed to get a bit of money under the Innovate UM, sort out the drawings, sort out working drawings, so that the team could do this. So in Prima MBJB at Jalan Tebrau. The Prima project, the housing project, is completed, and hopefully we'll build that this year. And so this is under the Transportation and Tourism sub-GCs. This is the bus stop that is in front of KK4. We were ever grateful for Pejabat Hak Ehwal and Deputy Vice Chancellor, now the current one, and also the previous one, and also JPPHB, which came up with, they actually own most of the process. We just did the drawings for this, and they had a contractor and they built it. So this was proof of concept, and we found out what is wrong with it, so that we did version number 2. So that's under sub-GC Transportation and Tourism. Now, another thing that is very important for local authorities is the access audit checklist for a town center for rating purposes, and to find data so that you can actually can put on the tin whether your city or town is barrier free. So we have Jenis Premises Awam, which is all the components, and we have a matrix here, but then we also have the checklist, which is for non-technical people. So basic things that they know, the critical dimensions, and they can go and audit. Yeah, we've already tested it in the MTOS, Majlis Tindakan OKU Selangor, under the state government, under Datuk Siti Maria. We've already done it in December last year. So you see, the GC, the Grand Challenge, continues on and on. So this is under transportation and community facilities. Yeah, going through quickly. There's about 62 pages, and you can just take out one for each component. Yeah, this is the one on penghubung jalan, the connectivity on the street environment. So we also presented to the Minister of Education in 2018, 2019, the access audit checklist for costings. Just now was for data collection. Now for costings, as a school building is part of community facilities under GC number 3. So because this is important, because you need to bring in the contractor and to quantify it. So there's a procedure or step-by-step thing what you should do if you want to do an access audit. And then at the end there, you can see the cost per unit. We had a contractor went with us, and we presented how much it costs. Yeah, about 700,000 K if you put 4 lifts. So you think, because the government provide only how much? About 100K, you can't really get a lift in. Just to let you know. So you can get the toilets, accessible toilets in the school. Maybe you can cover the drains, make the ramp better, more accessible, less steep, and just upgrading more of that, yeah, to make it less. It has only to do with the physical access. So our sub-GC 2, which is on landscape, they have deliverables as well. So you can see here BFM radio interview, also the human capital, publication on this Taman Sensory, therapeutic sensory. We work with the rehabilitation medicine specialist, Dr. Zaliha Omar, and under Bhakti Mind. And this is interdisciplinary. It is not just architecture. So other human capitals, Risha herself is showed you some of the articles and stuff that she's presented. Sorry. And then also working with the community, because a lot of it's in DBKL. So Taman Tun Dr. Ismail was and part of it is under her PhD still, and that is very interesting. It also spurred the resident association, TTDI Residential Association, and she's involved we are involved with that, and we did an access audit earlier, and all that is also in the PhD. And hope that this publication come out. So we're a bit slow in when we're gonna produce this, but we have the documentation for this, the access audit of the different routes. And as you know, during the TTDI, during the whole time, MRT did 2 stops there. So you have to organize your data more, because there's MRT in there, not just buses. And yeah, this is under sub GC1. So all in all, I think I'm going to be entering to, okay. So we have the sub-programs, and in each sub-programs, we then merge, because it's all to do with the neighborhood, and most reflected in the last, the first slide earlier, where we had that one on tourism, and it's a bit slow with the Ministry of Tourism and Arts and Culture, but we're getting there. And thank you very much. So yeah, Q&A. Thank you so much for listening. This is my details if you want to communicate with me, and join the Facebook group, Business Smart Design with Disability Access in Mind. We actually had several Facebook groups doing also community engagement in terms of, there's one called, exactly the title, because we were inspired by, like in Japan, they have Japan Accessible Inclusive Society, where not only disabled person talking about their issues, they were professionals involved. So this is trying to mainstream, trying to engage with the community, private and public, community in general, about accessibility and awareness on disability. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof, for your very enlightened presentations. This is something new for me as well. Okay, do you have any questions from the audience? Please unmute yourself. We have a technical problem on the chat. So unmute yourself and you may ask the questions directly to the speaker. If not, I just wondering, Prof, this one, this type of projects, is it also, how long it takes? Let's say, for example, I have projects, let's say, imagine UM going to have their science park, for example. How long it takes to do this kind of design and so on this assessment audit or this kind of work? Is it 3 months, 4 months, 6 months? How long it takes is it actually?
Okay, just say you have a consultant doing the science part, right? You're going to engage with a consultant. So you'd want your consultant to be knowledgeable in accessibility and universal design, because you want older persons in section 12 coming in, open the university, the idea, the concept of the campus to get more people to coming into the campus, right? And the area around the campus. What is the Universiti Malaya about, right? So what you want people to come in and walk across Jalan University, how difficult is that? We all know how difficult that is. Even UMMC with the car park, So that has to be like seamless connectivity with the buses and so on. So your architect and your planners, your consultants need to have this at the tip of their fingers. So, one of the things that we're doing training programs, and that is the Facebook group that I mentioned just now, where you actually could buy into a course, and you can actually get understanding about disability awareness and what are barriers and so on, and design with empathy. Design, the empathy is the byword now when you talk about community engagement, right? So you'd want to prove the desired outcomes to be shown, that people with prams, families are coming into your area. So this not alone-ish, aloof type of buildings, difficult, fortress-like, is that what the university wants to become in the future? So the relevance of the university's physicality and what they are talking to the audience or the people coming in is also important. So your architect need to know that. So how long does it take?
How long it takes?
The architect can sketch like 1 day an accessible park. They can get the concept in a day, the accessible park. They're doing digital, all the technology is there. It's not an issue of technology. It is an issue of attitude, attitudinal barriers.
Thanks for these.
Okay. But you know, doing a working drawing. Okay,
because,
can we get a working drawing?
UM, they are talking about
the bus
the
stop
science
took
park.
some time, you know. Working drawing with the bus stop took a few weeks. So just the bus stop took a few weeks. Delay came out.
Okay, that's good, Prof. I think the I just now I mentioned that UM going to have their science park or science buildings. We are not sure. Some of these idea or suggestions. Okay, thank you, and Prof, again for your sharings and your very successful projects. So,
thank you
if you have anything about these urban development and universal design, please do contact Prof Nazati, and I think she also share her Facebook and others contact informations. Okay, this come to our end of our session 1. So we have a session 2 later. So I pass back to the secretariat. Do you have anything to add up? Mary, do you have anything to add up?
At the moment, no. It's just that we would like to inform the audience before we move to the next segment. Okay, since the chat box is currently having some technical error, you may raise your hand so that the speaker knows that there is a question, but you can ask your question at the end of the session at the end of the presentation by the speaker. All right, so now moving on to the next session, introducing our next moderator for today, Professor Dr. Nomaniza Osman, the Deputy Dean for Innovative Industry and Sustainability Science Research Cluster. Over to you, Prof. Nomaniza.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, so, well, we start earlier, is it? I thought we will start at 10. No break between the session?
Yeah, very near. No break.
All right, so just please update me that that all the presenters are here already. Okay, so Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. Welcome to the second session of Universiti Malaya Grand Challenge and Frontier Research Grant Symposium 2021. First of all, I would like to thank all of you here for have been joining us today, and especially for those who have been joining us since yesterday. So we hope that you all have gained a lot of knowledge, and we already update you with a breakthrough in research, and also maybe we also provide you with a platform for new collaborations. Okay, so not to forget also, I would like to thank the industrial partner. I hope they are still here. We have here Dr. Nur Azmi Alias from Collaborative Research in Engineering Science and Technology, CREST Center. Are you still here, Dr. Nur Azmi?
Dr. Nur Azmi is still on hold. I think maybe something else.
Okay. Okay, and we also welcome, I think Dr. Nur Azmi has been here since yesterday. Thank you so much for your presence, Dr. Nur Azmi. And we welcome also technologist, Encik Muhammad Lofti Abdul Karim, a senior consultant, IP and commercialization from Technology Park Malaysia. You are here, Encik Lofti. Secretary, please update me whether they are here. Okay, and also I just got to be being informed here that Mr. Teo also is here. He is the CEO from UMCH Technology Sdn Bhd. So thank you so much for being here with us. And we hope that we are looking forward to hear your valuable input, suggestions, in terms of, especially in terms of the way forward in research collaborations. So in this session, we're going to have another 6 speakers. 3 who are the recipient of UM Grand Challenge. under the theme of eco-resilient cities and world without conflict and pushing economic borders. And also 3 speakers from Frontier of Research Grant recipients. Okay, so to all the speakers, you will be given 15 minutes of presentation and 5 minutes of question and answer session. And we have the bell ringing here as a time indicator. So the first bell, the bell will be ringing once at your 13 minutes of presentation. Okay, like that. Thank you, Yana. And then it will be ringing twice, okay, at 15 minutes of presentation. Okay. All right, so we hope that you will wrap up your presentation by 30 minutes of your presentation. All right, so and I think that's all for the information. And again, as Val has mentioned just now, we have a technical problem with our chat box. So if you have any questions, you can raise your hand, or you can just unmute your mic. After the presenter have presented their presentation. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to invite the first speaker for this session. Okay, Professor Dr. Saad Macleaf from Department of Electrical Engineering, Faculty of Engineering. He is the recipient of FRG grant. Okay, and he will talk on a low-cost, high-efficient active clamp flyback micro inverter for PV applications or photovoltaic applications. Prof. Saad, are you here already?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Prof.
Hi, Prof. Saad. So the screen is yours, Prof.
Thank you. So let me share my my screen. Can you see my presentations?
Yes, yes, Prof. So maybe present in the presentation mode. Yeah.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and very good morning. So thank you very much for the introduction, and also for giving me this opportunity to present our findings from our research grants and the Frontier Research Grants. So as mentioned by the moderator, the title of this project is a low-cost, high-efficient active clamp flyback microinverters for PV applications. And if you can see from the title, first one is we have some keywords, which is the low cost. We're targeting low cost. We're targeting the efficiency improvements and the applications, which is for PV applications or photovoltaics applications. And I think you know the photovoltaics is increasingly important and becoming more and more important in our daily life in generating electricity from the solar. Okay, I'm the leader of this project, and my co-researchers are Professor Hazli and Dr. Marizan and Dr. Tay from computer science. So this is the overall graphical what I call abstract of the project. So as we maybe to use the as we see the PV installations is increasing year after year. You see, it's almost an exponential increase in terms of number of installations of photovoltaics. So there is an exponential increase of total PV, including in Malaysia and around the globe. And this is becoming very important, and also the price of electricity that's generating from the PV, it is now it is the same like or even lower than the conventional sources. So this is one of the very important and you can see there are the blue color here, which is represents the utility scale. Utility scale means it's like a power plant. Means there is an increase also in the number of installations for large solar PV panels. And then also this is represent the rooftop, means putting it on the rooftop also is still important. Okay, in this kind of systems, what we see, there are this is the configurations. When we're having the sun, and then we have the PV panels, and then we have the inverter, and then these inverters, there are many types of inverters that is in the market. We have the central inverters, the string inverter, multi-string, and micro inverters. So this is our target. Our project, we're focusing on these micro inverters. We call it micro because the amount of power that is handled by this inverter is quite low. Means we're talking about 200 to 500 watts. Okay, compared to, for example, central inverter, which can go for megawatts. And this can go for tens of kilowatts. This can go for a few kilowatts. So this is the target. The target is looking into this, which is small in size. Okay, we call it micro, which is small and can be attached to the PV panel itself. Means it can be at the back of the PV panel. So that's what's the. So this is just an example how, for example, when you're having string, this is the problems where we face. We put string, for example, a string inverter. What you can see here, you can see a number of PV panels. They are connected, and if one of the PV panel is shaded. Shaded means there is, for example, leaves fall on it, or there is a shadow from another building or from another tree, or there is something happened to this. So what will happen? The power that is can come to this inverter is the lowest, means following this, the lowest power. Okay, so this is the disadvantage, means this part will be affected significantly. Whereas if we use a micro inverter, what will happen? So you will get 100% from the 3 panels. See, 100, 100, 100%. This is, you get 50% because it is shadowed. So this is the comparison between the micro inverter and other type of inverter. So you can solve the problem of partially shaded PV panels, because this PV panels, we assume it is 50% shaded, means it can generate only 50% of power. So this is 100, 100. So you get, for example, if this is 100 watts, 100 watts, 100 watts, 100 watts, and then you get here 50. You get 350 watts. Whereas if this one, you get 50 here, 50 here, 50 here, 50 here, you get only 200 watts. So 350 watts compared to 200 watts. So this is the importance of having a micro inverters. However, there is some challenges which is quite important, which is we are going to discuss after this. So the problems exist, okay, inverters, okay, low conversion efficiency. The efficiency is quite low. Manufacturing cost, because we are talking about every panel's one single inverter, and then also short lifespan, because the panels usually they've been given 25 years warranty. How these inverters usually they have a shortened lifespan. Okay, difficult to control because you will have a large number of micro inverters. You may have inside this inverter you may have capacitors which has a lower, shorter life also. And low power density means it can be bigger. It cannot fit within the PV panels. Okay, and high switching losses. Okay, so there are the beneficiaries of this proposal of this project is automatically TMB, the main supplier of electricity in Malaysia. So TMB is one. Rural areas, which is very important, rural areas, especially Sabah and Sarawak, and there are some Orang Asli areas where it is. Even in the homeowners, small and medium industries also is important. Okay, so what is the outcome of this project is we develop a prototype. This is exactly the prototype, how it looks like. Okay, and then we train high qualified technical manpower, for example, masters and PhD students, and also one of the main outcome is an affordable clean energy. That is the outcome of this project. So these are some of the results, directly to the results. So you see our project, we designed a 250 watt lab prototype. This is exactly how it looks like. This is on the PCB micro inverters. and then we test it. Okay, so we test, and then we can get a very nice sine wave, voltage and current sine wave. This is the indication that the inverter, microinverter, is working perfectly. And then also one of the ways of testing this inverter is to measure the harmonics, or how clean is the power that is produced from these inverters. And then we measure it, and we found it is equal to 3.89, which is much lower than the IEEE or international standard. The international standard is we must be below 5, so we are below 4. Okay, so this is the one of the main advantage. Also, we do the comparison in terms of efficiency. Okay, so we managed to achieve the maximum efficiency of 97.8. So this is the one of, I think, the highest so far in the market, 97.8% efficiency. And we did the comparison performance with some of the inverters that exist in the market. So, example, this interleaf flyback, 3 ports flyback with bidirectional active clamp, and so on. And we compare them. Okay, so this is in terms of voltage, in terms of output power. In terms of output power, you can see almost in the range of 250 to 400 watts. Okay, and then the most important thing is this last two, which is the efficiency. Like I see in the title was the high efficiency. So we managed to achieve 97 point, actually 97.8, not 97.4. And the total harmonic distortion of 3.85. So this actually validates the performance of the designed micro inverter. So the impact, automatically we will be helping in reduction of greenhouse emissions by using this kind of what you call inverters in generating electricity for household, and this is in line with the SDG 13 climate actions. Also, communities and urban and rural areas can benefit from this kind of technology, because you will have a PV panels where the inverter is inside. Then you just connect directly to the load. You can connect directly to your lights, to your fridge, to your washing machine directly. There is no other boxes inside. And this is in line of providing an affordable, what you call energy, affordable energy to rural communities, and this is in line with the SDG 7, which is clean and affordable energy. Also, current market of the PV inverters, okay, mostly dominated by mainly international manufacturers, and this actually put us in a good positions to have local produced inverters in Malaysia. Okay, this also will create new job markets, because there will be manufacturing, there will be companies to manufacture this product, service it, and install it. And this will also enhance the socio-economic well-being of the Malaysians. Also, this project contributes to the developed sustainable communities, which is SDG 7, SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities. Okay. And also, as mentioned before, we have managed to train masters and PhD students working on this project. Yeah, its relevance to the government policy. Yeah, it's I think, as you know, Malaysia has a target of achieving 20% of renewables, 20% of renewables by 2050, and this actually in line. So we are producing some inverters which will help. Malaysian National Green Technology Policy to facilitate the growth of green technology. I think this is in line with this also. National fuel diversification policy to prevent over-dependence on oil. I think also it's in line with this, in line with the 5th diversification policy, and so on. So it's in line with almost all the policies and targets that's set by the Malaysian governments. Future plan, we already have this lab prototype. So the future plan is to design the pre-commercialized prototype, which is ready for markets. Also, we are thinking to integrate some smart features, such as the autonomous control, smart monitoring, and so on and so forth. also to file a patent, and also look for fundings from different agencies or industries who are interested in this project. The challenges, okay, technical challenges is associated with the proposed flyback converters to improve the power density, means how to make it smaller and can fit with the panels. Okay, and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Saad, for your interesting presentation. So I open the floor to questions to audience. Any question? Or maybe in the chat box. Is chat box working now? Well?
Yes, Prof. Chat box is now working.
Okay, so any questions? I cannot see. No, so far no questions. So any questions from the floor? Okay, while waiting, Prof. Saad, maybe I can ask you one or two questions.
Yeah, please.
So, so this prototype, so you have you already have the discussion with TNB or other beneficiaries.
We actually we propose to them, but there is no what I call official, because we need someone to take over this, you know. So because it's just a lab prototype, means we have used this grant to develop this prototype. Okay, and then we went around to TNB. We talked to TNB. We talked to some SMEs, you know, some industries which can invest to pre-commercialize this prototype. Means we have maybe invest in the packaging, into making it smaller, you know, and bring it to the market. But still, so far we are just waiting for any feedback from the industries.
Oh, so you're still working on it to engage with the industries.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the prototype is ready and already tested.
Yeah. And so time to convince them more, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I also see that here you said that this prototype can have can reduce the guest house emission. Yeah. So have you studied on this exactly? How much a reduction that you predict or you know?
The reduction of gas house emission is indirectly. How I see indirectly means, for example, I give you an example. If you use this inverter, means you are not going to use you are going to use the electricity from solar. You are not going to use electricity from conventional grid. We know the conventional grid, they use the gas and the oil and the coal to burn and then generate electricity. So when we use these types of inverters, so actually we are going to use the electricity from sun, which is not going to contribute to the gas house emission. So this is like indirectly will help in the reduction of the conventional sources dependency.
Do you plan to quantify it? Maybe you can further study on this and become multidisciplinary.
Yeah, we can quantify, but this will depend on, for example, depends on how many. For example, if you install at home, for example, at your house or my house, I install, for example, 10 units of this. So, for example, 10 units, I'm able to generate 250 watts. Multiplied by 10 means we're talking about 2.5 kilowatts. So with 2.5 kilowatts, this 2.5 kilowatts, if I use it from TNB, okay, it's going to be generated from gas. For example, in Malaysia, mainly we use gas. 60% of our electricity is burning the gas. So that 60%, that 2.5 kilowatt, it's how much equivalent of gas that is going to be burned. Okay, and that is actually we can do, but we have not done this quantitative contribution because it will be depending on the number. Maybe we can do per unit, for example. Per units, okay, you have this. If you install this unit, you have this amount of carbon dioxide reductions emission.
Yeah, I think can be a added value to this project, right? To can have this reduction in the gas house emission. Yeah, maybe I can ask maybe our industrial partner here, maybe Dr. Azmi, any perspective on this on these findings? Any perspective or suggestions that you would like to say? Dr. Azmi is here?
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, Dr. Azmi.
This is Dr. Nazmi.
Finally, we hear
Yeah,
your voice.
I'm just like reading through your presentation, Prof. Saad. So I'm just trying to understand the difference between what you are doing here with the other microinverter activity in UM. And so that's one. The other part is I'm trying to understand how do you plan to further test your solution? Have you tested in the actual in the field application, and how do you compare your flyback microinverter to other microinverter that are used in the market? And are you using any kind of specific power devices, either IGBT or is it silicon carbide, or are you pursuing any kind of new devices based on gallium nitride?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, maybe a couple of questions, in the. So maybe I will try to answer. If I miss anyone, please let me know. Okay. So maybe I will start with the last one, which is the using of the type of device. Yes, we use the I call silicon carbide devices because they can withstand the higher switching frequencies and also withstand the higher heat. So, and also they are more efficient and they have lower switching losses. And that's the main reason. So that's the reasons of using the silicon carbide devices. The other question is about what is the main focus. As I say, the main focus is the efficiency. Like you can see here, our main target was to to use to improve the efficiency. Because as we know, the solar panels, the efficiency, the commercial solar efficiency is around 20%, the maximum 20%. We're talking about 18 to 20% efficiency. What does it mean, 18 to 20%? We're talking about if you have a 1000 watt per meter square of solar irradiance, means actually you're getting 200 watt only from the solar panel. From 1000, you are getting only 200. So we don't want to lose anything after that. Okay, that's why we are talking about now here. We managed to reduce it to 97.8. We managed to improve the efficiency to 97. So we are talking about only 2.5, 2.2 losses, which is.
And these are data that are actually already been verified by actual installation.
Yeah. Actually, we did test it. We have quite a big system in our lab in the Faculty of Engineering, where we have mini modules. We have I call monocrystalline, polycrystalline, thin film, solar panels, and then we connect directly to this microinverter and we test it. This result actually is a practical result. It's not the simulation, it's the experimental result. Yes.
I'll have my colleague follow up with you, because we're working on something commercial, at this moment with Prof. Nasruddin. But I will get my colleague to contact you to follow up further. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's good, Dr. Nur Azmi. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Yeah, I think I please join me to thank Prof. Saad for a very interesting presentation, and congratulations, Prof. Saad, and all the best to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All the best. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Thank you. All right, so we move to the second speaker for today, for this session, Associate Professor Dr. Nasrin Aga Muhammadi from Department of Social and Preventive Medicine, Faculty of Medicine. She is the leader to the program, UM Grand Challenge program on eco-resilient cities. So please welcome Dr. Nasrin to present on urban heat island phenomenon in tropical urban area. Dr. Nasrin, the screen is yours.
Very good morning. Thank you very much, Prof, to giving me the opportunity to present our finding. Of course, this project has been funded in 2015, and after so long coming back, and it's ended 2019. But anyway, thank you so much to give me this opportunity to share what we have done and what we are looking forward. As you can see, starting with the topic of, I think we are living in a tropical city, right, and a hot and humid weather. And due to this rapid urbanization and population growth, and also we used to have a frequent presence of the air pollution, haze in a city, definitely this has a high impact to increasing the temperature, right? And subsequently, we always facing with this hot and humid city, which we come out with the idea of looking at the cooling hill city. Of course, another problem is in terms of the this urbanization. Perhaps with this speed is going to be 60% by 2030, which is a bit need to really look into consideration. And also looking at the sustainable development goal to decreasing the temperature by 2030. So definitely this is what was our concern. And that time we did have a Malaysian 11 plan. Now we are in a 12 plan, which the major concern was to support the national innovation, to increase the competitiveness of the nation in a major city like Kuala Lumpur, Johor, Kuching, and Kota Baru, and to look at economic growth and also incorporate with the sustain master plan. Yes, before this, our project kicked off by Malaysian 10 plan, which that time the thrust forth was impairing the standards of the sustainability, and also looking at the developing climate and quality of life in a resilience growth. So therefore, we come out with this idea, and I'm mainly looking at the goal number 11 on sustainable city and communities, good health, well-being, and also towards the climate action. Therefore, we come out with this idea of looking at the urban heat island phenomenon in tropical urban area, which is GC02215 source. And a little bit, let me talk about at all what is urban heat island phenomenon. If you can see in this graph, you can see a dome which shows how the heat and then the Anthropocene activities, we transform the forest, clear the land and green lungs of the city, and we come out with the concrete jungle here with a lot of activities, traffic jam. And this is where when we expecting the temperature rise, and during the daytime when the sunrise is coming up, definitely we expecting that the city get hotter, right? And we call it fever of the city. And then expecting during the sunset, we start to feel the city is getting cooler and cooler. However, due to this urban heat island phenomenon, the temperature isn't going down, and unfortunately this heat remains sometimes even by 2 p.m. This is where we talk about urban heat island or UHI phenomenon. And definitely talking about this during the daytime or nighttime, still people are using the air conditioning, apart from the what the heat is absorbed by the dark material, concrete, asphalt. We don't have enough reflective material or green lung or greeneries to cool the environment. And on the other hand, the consequences would be on the increasing the greenhouse gases, and then definitely global warming and climate change. So this is exactly in a very low level of telling what is UHI and how important it is in our study. So in that case, sorry, I need to remove this. I'm not, oh yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. And so this is where I'm going to introduce in very brief our study looking at we come out with 4 different faculty of engineering, computer science, built environment and medicine to look at this phenomenon, all of us at the same time in same zone in Greater Kuala Lumpur. And the objective of this study was to first looking at to understand where is the hot spot and where is the green lung. Of course, we cannot cover whole city, but we come out with the selected zone of the city centers and urban area and suburban area, and then to understand where is the hot spot, where is the cool spot by using the local climate zone, and definitely with measuring some meteorological data and the air quality data. And then the same zone we go in the ground to understand what society understanding of the UHI, the attitude, the knowledge, how they practice towards this heat and climate issues, and what they really need to tackle this issue. At the same time, the group leading by Dr. Rafida from the Faculty of Computer Science, she has been looking at the same area on the traffic jam and collecting the data from the area, the same air quality data, and looking at the rather than proposing the like a Waze application to shortest route, they're proposing the healthiest routes, especially for vulnerable group, because this we know the impact of the heat on human health is very important, especially on a vulnerable group like people with asthma or cardiovascular diseases, and definitely this really has impact to the public health. And our the other team leading by Prof. Nur Rosli from Built Environment, they look at the same area on the properties value in terms of how much the greenery and cooling area has impacted the properties value and how much it has impact in a stock market. So this is in a, I think in a nutshell of the what our project has been done. So what happened is we thought the first step before we start the whole project to come out with the expert sharing session. So we invited different stakeholders in policymakers, academicians, developers, and NGOs to really share with them and understand what's their knowledge in terms of urban heat island and what they think and movement towards the cooling city. So in this session, we have different groups, and we come out with understanding of how much they can associate this UHI with the climate change and definition of that, and then what is the current status of the UHI intensity in terms of awareness, current policy or guidelines we do have, what gaps and weaknesses we have, in if there is a guideline we have, and what suggestion it will be, and definitely the consequences of the UHI itself, and mitigation of measure in decreasing the temperature in a city in Kuala Lumpur, to look at the health impact, economic governance and environment, and also to look into a best practice for this kind of guideline and adaptation, and coming of the idea of the planning policies or a strategy. So definitely for us, our main stakeholders who are the policymakers was Ministry of Federal Territory Works, Ministry of Transport and Housing and Local Government, and also Ministry of Land and Natural Resources. Of course, this all ministry during the time we have conducted this study. And I'm not supposed to present any paper here, but just to highlight what we could have done, because making policy and coming with policy, it needs longer time and people to really understand. But what we could publish here to say how is the awareness and knowledge of stakeholders in terms of UHI in Greater Kuala Lumpur. And so definitely definitely we found out the knowledge among academicians, among some of the practitioners, it's more than the knowledge among the policymaker, and this is where we had a problem. And this is another based on that another topic and publication just recently published on what's the perceived impact of UHI in a metropolitan city, and look at the perspective from a stakeholder dialogue. And what is the outcome is really the society, the economy, the environment are affected by UHI. Of course, when we talk about society, even today, by coming a COVID, we can see the deterioration of the public health, and then looking at the urban migration. Of course, the migration is happening and people are locating, and preferably they want to go to the cooler area, right? And also in terms of economic impact, because of the health impact, definitely reduction of the workers' productivity and poor economy, and also definitely environment is by increasing the usage of the air conditioning, carbon budget, and then also land clearing, etc. And of course, the urbanization itself has impact to the environment. So we started to go and find out other colleagues and the other departments. We work with the Department of Environment, we work with the meteorological department to really understand how we can collaborate and work together, and perhaps having more section to have to be able to translate our research and output to the other different stakeholders, while our main concern was a public health. And this is how we go down and we dig out what the station they have and how they collect the data, because we want to use the air quality and also meteorological data. And with that, of course we had collaboration and get data from them, but we found that this is not enough for our study, because we want to see what they have is up there, and the stations are quite far from each other. But what we need for our study to understand the air quality and meteorological data and the exposure to the pedestrian level. So we come out with a different patent by both Dr. Rafida and myself, which is a prototype and patent to look at how we can really measure these portable these factors and portable to the different zones. So of course, with using our IoT and the Internet of Things, we can link all this data together and come out with that. So we find out which location we want and which zone we want to go to that. So our area is Mount Kiara, Raja Chulan, and then of course our campus Setia Alam was this. This is a picture of the location of a station we have in different area, and then how we go through. And then what happened here, we found that the best is we involve the science club of the schools, future talents, to understand how we can first of all have them with us in a project at the same time. We can have a safe place and collect our data and study. Of course, our study shows the hottest spot actually was a PJ, and through that we can really characterize where is the hotspot by simulation, and we can back to the MPPJ or DBKL to tell them where is the hottest spot, and they can improve their the area. So this is very important. I think time is very limited, but I'm just telling. We come out with the two very important booklets for the climate literacy in both education students in a school and management level, and of course the other two books in a Springer. But these two booklets for us was kind of impact, because we went back to the schools, different schools. We train children from the moment of this, as I said, science clubs, how this at all the science of urban climate literacy, and then air quality works. So we go to the classroom, we bring the topic to the classroom, and we come out with the awareness. We engage the students with different lectures, games, and then after games, it was like a one day. Each school we go for one day, and then after that we come out with the kind of the data analysis, monitoring, and still our instrument is there in schools because the COVID we couldn't manage to go back and collect them, so it still is there. But unfortunately, because of the funding, because of finishing the project, we can't continue. Otherwise, we can come out with another topic. And this is a set of the schools. We, of course, Universiti Malaya campus first was in front of library. Then later on, because of some construction, we moved in front of the exam hall. Then we have the Methodist school, Sri Har Thomas School, St. John's, and then Sultan Abdul Samad, and one private school in TTDI, Jalal Ma'ruf, where our previous speaker was talking about. So just few minutes of just sharing some of the photos, and then you can see how students were very involved, very interesting, because we look at the future talents. And then this is also our students, how they were happy and engaged with the whole topic. The other one is how we go to the ground, to the neighborhoods, we talk to the neighborhood and collect the data in terms of knowledge, attitude, and practice. If you can see in right hand, even the center we did, and we have in SPM using the call to thousands of the household to talk to people, to feel that, because that time wasn't online. So, and this is the location for our built environment topic. And then at the end of this session, we come out with a symposium. We share our finding with our stakeholders. Again, we invite them back. We told them what we have found it. And then this was it was conducted by a sustainability science cluster at that time. And this is our stakeholders talking. And then, of course, in left hand down is our brilliant, our capacity building people who are our PhD students, who were fantastic in this the project, and really without them it was impossible to do that. And our colleague, our collaborator here. Then we have lots of awareness, Dr. Rafida in a radio. We did have a lot of gold awards and silver awards. And sorry, I'm so fast because I think time is very limited. And then we did receive a lot of awards. But the main things I want to tell here, perhaps it's still is not, I mean, we just start and we couldn't even reach anywhere. Our project finished, the money finished, and we couldn't proceed further, which is very, I can look at it as a feasible study. Collaboration with the Google Estate, still we need to go to the future talent, educational technology, look at the future city, how we can use this information from the ground and link it with DOE, with the meteorological department, and look at the climate action. Also looking at the public health, thermal comfort, which is very important. And we do have a lot of thermal discomfort, which has impact in psychology, mental health. And then, of course, engaging policymaker, that's very important. We come out with the awareness creation, emergency response. That is very important, coming out with the intensive program for the policy and encourage various health stakeholders to look into the UHI. And fortunately, because of recently just also Urbanize launched this Sustainable Development Goal Center, which I'm targeting to talk and look into that. So this is a matter of the education, matter of the technology all together. I think it still needs to work together. Yeah, funding was issue. I'm not going to do that. There are lots of publication. I'm not going to share some of them. We had more than 28 just ISI paper, many chapter books, etc., which I don't think so is in interest here. And yeah, okay. Thank you very much for.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Dr. Nasrin. Yeah. So yeah, I can see that you have achieved a lot here. So did your team exactly establish any mitigation strategies and mitigation strategies to alleviate this urban heat?
Frankly speaking, we just managed to just come to the literacy part, right? Coming to the mitigation, was the interesting part was where we come out with our patents, coming with our weather station, right? So these were, I think Prof. Sad already is one of very amazing, because we were using the solar panel to do some energy saving. So our instrument works by the PV, and yeah, we need to improve on that. But coming to the mitigation approach, frankly speaking, I can't say it combines on awareness, a lot of unawareness knowledge, but not really, frankly, to be directly to come out to the mitigation yet. Yep.
I see. So, okay, so I think I open the floor to questions. So there's no questions in the chat box. Okay, I saw some your slide on IoT just now. Maybe Mr. Teo, maybe Mr. Teo want to ask something about that? Mr. Teo or Dr. Norazmi? Maybe Mr. Teo first. Is Mr. Teo here? From yeah. Do you have any?
Assalamualaikum, Prof. Sorry, I'm Suhana.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm ready to go on.
Suhana.
I'm sorry. I was experiencing bad network. I've been inside but been kicked out.
Okay, Suhana, go ahead.
I'm very happy for me to proceed with the next talk. So,
oh, sorry, not chat, Suhana, not chat. No, not chat, Suhana.
Oh, sorry.
So, all right. So I now I open the floor to the. Sorry, I open the floor to questions for Dr. Nasrin first.
Level 25. Okay.
All right. Okay. So okay. All right.
Sure.
So maybe I just have one question. Maybe from Mr. Teo. Can we hear from you? Any suggestions for Dr. Nasrin's team? Mr. Teo is not here?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Teo. So you are from UMCH Technology.
UMCH,
yeah. Anything? Because I saw some.
Okay. Well done on the presentation. But I don't have any question.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. But anything, if you have any questions or any suggestions, please contact Dr. Nasrin, or Dr. Nasrin can contact the potential industry partners. Yeah. All right. So I think. Thank you, Mr. Teo. Okay, so I think we move on. Thank you, Dr. Nasrin and the team. All the best to you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay, now I would like to invite the third speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Suhana Muhammad Said from Department of Electrical Engineering, Faculty of Engineering, who will be talking on a rational molecular design of ternary and quaternary scuterudides as high-performance thermoelectric materials for waste heat energy harvesting. Dr. Suhana, the floor is yours.
Yes, Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everyone. So I apologize. Not been experiencing stable network over my side. So I'm going to turn off the camera and hopefully things will be better that way. But I hope that Prof. Nur Maniza and all the other
Okay. Right. Okay. Maybe I off my camera. Okay. So we can see your slide, Doctor. So please put on the presentation mode.
So able to hear me? So let me know if I'm able to see my slide. Yeah. Are you able to see?
Yes. Just make it on the presentation mode. Okay. Now it is. Yeah. Okay. Alright, Doctor, you can proceed. Yeah, boleh nampak.
Okay, sorry. So you can see my slides. I'm very into the sporadic where I'm at in the laboratory. So I will present. I know that the title is somewhat and convoluted, my FRG grant, but it's basically looking at how we can design better materials for specific applications. With regards to our understanding of the molecular structure of the molecule or the complex that we are studying. So my study is within the domain of renewable energy because I work on a
Dr. Suhana, can you put on presentation slide,
Yes.
or is it me? Yana, can you? Is it
Yes,
on?
Dr. Suhana, please put your slide in presentation mode.
Yep. Can you see it?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Maybe Yana you may want to handle.
Are you able to see the slide at least?
Yeah, we can see the slide. Okay, now it's on the.
Now okay.
Okay.
Okay. A little bit lag, yeah? Okay, I apologize again. So I work in the domain of renewable energy, specifically a set of technology called thermoelectrics, which basically converts heat into electricity. And we're dealing in the intersection between engineering. I'm an electrical engineer with the chemistry of the materials and the physics of the heat transfer. Inside such materials.
Sorry, Dr. Sana, we cannot hear you.
Kinds of.
Your voice is breaking, Dr. Suhana, and then now we cannot hear you.
I'm already on my hotspot. Let's.
Yana, can we do something about it?
We cannot hear you, Dr. Suhana. Perhaps you need to do something about your network.
Okay, sorry all. There's a technical glitches a bit.
Hello, I beg your pardon for the interruption. Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, now clear.
Okay, I'm very, very sorry about that. Okay, so I will probably restart my presentation, and sorry for the time that is lost. Please give me a minute to actually just get it on the right page, yeah? Okay, so I hope everybody can see. I'll be putting it on.
All right, yes.
The slide format.
Yes.
Okay, so sorry, Prof. Normaniza and everyone for that interruption. So I'll try to keep the introduction a little bit brief. Basically, I work in the area of thermoelectrics, which is a subsection of renewable energy, where we're looking at the conversion of heat into electricity. So the work I do is kind of at the intersection between engineering. I'm an electrical engineer with some chemistry and physics, because at the essence of it is that for any application, there's a lot of materials being explored. But what we want to do is kind of identify from a very fundamental level what are the properties or what are the molecular characteristics of the material that will help us get better performance or better efficiencies at the end of the day. So it's trying to work from very fundamental concepts of molecular structure, our understanding of molecular structure, and see how that can actually help us make better generators, electrical generators at the end of the day. So what I have here is something we call thermoelectric technology. So we will be talking about how we design the molecular structure of the material. So that's our hypothesis, that we're going to have specific molecular structures, which we think is going to be better performing materials for thermoelectrics. And then we will be doing this experimentally to prove whether our hypothesis is right or not. So we'll be approaching the design of the molecular structure from quite a systematic manner, and it will demonstrate to you that our hypothesis works in terms of really boosting the performance of these thermoelectric materials. So just to introduce to you, if people are from the domain of physics or electrical, you're familiar with the concept of semiconductor materials. Okay, so our device is based on the semiconductor concepts, and we rely on materials which have very, because we want to generate an electrical potential if we have this device between a temperature gradient. So we put this device between an area which has a hot part on one side and a cold part on the other side. So this temperature gradient is going to drive the electrical charge. So we need high electrical conductivity. At the same time, we need something with a low thermal conductivity, because we do not want the heat from the hot side to go to the cold side. Okay, so that's where the conundrum lies, because if you talk about metals, they're very good electrical conductors, but they're also very good thermal conductors. So it's not going to be a very good candidate for this thermoelectric application. On the other hand, you may have a polymer such as rubber, which is a very good thermal insulator, but at the same time, it's not a very good electrical conductor. So again, it's not going to be very good. So we need to be a little bit smarter in designing these materials so that they are both highly electrically conductive, but low thermal conductive. Okay. So, and the applications of such a device is anywhere there is heat. This device can be put in the car engines, in factories, also maybe in the home where there is waste heat, so that we can then harvest that waste heat into useful electricity to supplement other electrical power sources that we may have in our environment. So some examples of some thermoelectric materials are compounds such as lead telluride, bismuth telluride, silicon germanium, and they are going to have a maximum efficiency at different temperatures. So for example, if you want to put your electric generator in a car engine, you want it to be able to operate at about 400 degrees Celsius. So you'll aim for something like a lead telluride. And the efficiency of this is somewhat limited originally, because they do not have very good electrical conductivity, or they have too high a thermal conductivity. So one way of overcoming this barrier towards efficiency, or what we call the figure of merit, is that we start to introduce nanostructures. So a bit of nanomaterial development, for example, quantum dots or nanowires or superlattices, are some of the ways that we can strategize to actually achieve better performance of these thermoelectric generators. So what I'll be focusing on today's talk is a family of crystals called scaturodides. And I'll first lay out the basics for you on its structure and why it's actually a good candidate for being a thermoelectric material. So what you see on this page is that the crystal structure of a scaturodide looks like a cage. So the main cage is what you see as the red atoms, all nicely arranged in cubic structure, or decentered cubic structure. In the middle, we have what we call the filler atoms. As you see, the turquoise atoms, they are normally bigger than the red atoms, and their role is to vibrate or rattle inside the red cage. So the purpose of this is that the red cage allows good electrical conduction, and the turquoise atoms, when they rattle, they reduce the thermal conductivity. So it fulfills the conditions that I set out at the beginning of the talk, where in order to have a good thermoelectric material, you want to have good electrical conductivity, which you achieve through the red lattice, and low thermal conductivity, which you achieve through the filler atom. So our system is we go through the periodic table and previous literatures and come up with a methodology to identify what are the good filler atoms, which we kind of see what are the atoms which will be good to play the role as the turquoise atoms in this diagram. So what you see here is a simplified concept of what I've explained on the previous slide, which we call a concept of the phonon glass electron crystal. So which means that we simultaneously allow good electrical conductivity along the cage, and then we rattle or vibrate the middle atom so as to reduce the thermal conductivity. And this is called the PGEC concept. This is just for your information, but for the interest of time and also the flow of the story, I won't be dwelling too much on this, but the objectives ideally is to identify the key structural and chemical parameters of the molecule of this catrodite so that we can have better thermoelectric generators at the end of the day. So it's something very fundamental, but the ultimate aim is actually something very applied. So I'll come back to this. We have the periodic tables here. So we had a very big survey of the existing catrodite molecules. And this is possible because there has been a large body of work internationally on the use of cathrodites as thermoelectrics. So the existing data is there, and we've also been doing this kind of synthesis and characterization of cathrodites for a number of years now. So we have that wealth of data. We want then to systematize the data to see how we can actually go towards optimal materials using the knowledge of the existing complexes that we have. So we settled on the cage structure. If you remember the red cage that I spoke to you about in a couple of slides earlier, we settled on a structure consisting of COSB3. That is a very well-known catrodite-based material. And then we decided to then fill the middle atom, if you remember, that's the big rattler atom, with two possible candidates, either lanthanum or yttrium. And then in addition to that, we would add another filler atom. So what is conventional is that you would just have one filler atom, but we would add an additional atom in the middle. So you would have a double doping strategy. You would have two atoms in the middle, which would vibrate together and provide even lower thermal reduction. Okay, so for this purpose, in this set of slides, I will be showing to you some of our results. The whole set of results is more extensive because, as I said, the whole body of work in this area is quite extensive. But I will choose these four double filling strategies to show you the progression in our achievements as to how our hypothesis on which filler atoms can be used are actually very effective in eventually improving the performance of the thermoelectric material. So the additional dopant that we identified was tellurium, indium, nickel, and aluminium. So I'll take you step by step through the procedure. And the procedure is actually, what I'm showing here is the actual experimental work that we have done based on our hypothesis from the supposed molecular structure that would give good performance. So if you see the bigger square here is your big lattice, and our lanthanum atom in the middle is the supposed filler atom. We then added tellurium to it, but for this first try, tellurium wasn't very successful because we wanted the tellurium to end up next to the lanthanum atom, but it ended up on the side of the lattice. Okay, and how is this achieved? I will speed it up. Is that we do a ball milling process and then we sinter everything at very high pressure and high temperature. Because it's not in the middle, we did not manage to achieve a very good reduction of thermal conductivity, and our figure of merit is only 0.47. We tried it again with indium. And in this case, on this page, you can see that indium succeeded in being next to the lanthanum. And by this, we reduced the thermal conductivity because there were two atoms rattling in the middle. So our ZT increased from 0.47 to 1.15. And that's a very successful demonstration of how our hypothesis on the molecular structure resulted in better device performance. And we repeated this with yttrium, with nickel. Nickel wasn't very good. It did not go to the middle, and therefore our ZT was only 0.49. In contrast, we added aluminium, which was very good in being in the middle with the YB. So we had a double doping situation in this case, and this succeeded in helping us very much increase the figure of merit to 1.6. So double filling is to be an effective strategy for improving thermoelectric performance. So what I've tried to do is really give you a snapshot of the progression of our materials development. There is a whole wealth of it, which I do not have time to do so inside this set of slides. But what we have said is that we've managed through the identification, through the use of a periodic table, identification of electronegativity, identification of the atomic mass, and so on. We identified the best atoms that would be able to go and fill this catrodite lattice. And eventually we demonstrated that this would be very good thermoelectric materials, and ultimately we'll be taking them and developing them into thermoelectric generators, which you can then put in energy harvesting devices. So these are the acknowledgements to the authors. Some of the outputs are here, and I believe that the double bell is a sign for me to stop speaking. But we hope that the contribution to this project is to be a more systematic study of how we can improve the renewable ecosystem through our findings. And we'll be making devices from these materials through semiconductor fabrication. I'd very much like to thank my collaborator in Tohoku University, Japan, Professor Yuzuru Miyazaki. So thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much for your patience. Apologies for the bad connection at the beginning of the talk. I welcome any questions.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Suhana, for keeping the time. Also, any questions? I open the floor to question. Anyone? So I give the expert to ask questions first. Maybe Dr. Nur Azmi, you want to have any suggestions or advice or for this project? Dr. Nur Azmi, are you still there?
Yeah, still here. I think
Yeah.
I don't have a particular question for Dr. Zuana, so completely out of my focus. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nur Azmi. Others? Mr. Teo, anything? Okay, I think there is no question. So Dr. Suhana, so for this project, so because I think we missed the slide just now, so the output is just share with us just briefly about the output just now. So you.
Okay, the output apart from
the outcome
contributions, of course, is that we managed to design better performing thermoelectric materials. So these materials we can then, because right now it's just on the material form, we can then make them into devices. So we can, have it in the terms of device module, which you can then put where you have heat, for example, in your car engine, or if you have your electronics gadget at home, depending on what you want to use it for, or even in factories, then this device will ultimately be able to give you electricity just from any presence of heat.
So have you initiated any engagement with the potential?
Yeah, we have spoken to a number of these providers, for example, for the car engine and so on. But I think the first thing that we need to complete right now, which is an ongoing work, is to finish the module fabrication, which we are doing again with a lab in Japan.
I see. Okay, all right. Thank you, Dr. Suhana.
Thank you very much.
Wish you all the best to you and your team. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, so now we move to the next speaker, the UMGC recipient. Actually, the program leader is the Associate Professor Dr. Fatimah Kari, but the presenter for today for the program is Dr. Peter Aning Anak Tudung from Department of Urban and Regional Planning, Faculty of Built Environment, who will be presenting on towards resilience, livable and competitive cities in Malaysia. Dr. Peter, your screen is yours.
Yeah, hold on, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Is it on the slide mode?
Yes. All right.
All right. Thank you very much. Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Peter. I will present our Grand Challenge research grant on towards resilient, livable, and competitive cities in Malaysia. The program leader is Professor Dr. Fatimah Kari. She actually already retired last year, and the sub-program leader, Professor IR Dr. Muhammad Zami Jumaat, also already retired. Myself, and then Professor Dr. Surveyor Wan Nur Azriati Wan Abdul Aziz, also already retired. And then also Associate Professor Dr. Johnson, and last but not least, Professor Dr. Fatimah Kari. 3 program leader already retired from this project. Just a little bit background about this project. This project was funded back in 2015 and it was ended in October 2017. We have 5 sub-programs. Dr. Fatimah Kari actually looking into economics, employment, structure in urban future. Professor Muhammad Zamin looking into development of effective repair and rehabilitation material consisting local waste material for affordable housing. Myself looking into social spatial planning plans and regulations. Professor Wan looking into housing and urban neighborhoods, and Dr. Johnson looking into environmental friendly building materials for affordable housing. So we started this research because we look at into various issues and challenges that we're facing in the city today. For instance, on top, on my left, on my slide, if you can look at into the graph, the housing price, for instance, steadily increased for the past few years, if not decades, but the household income, it's kind of like maintained for the past few years or decades. And also, we also having this issue with overcrowding in the city, unsustainable living, and also, this is most prominent in Malaysia, traffic congestions. So judging from this, all of the issues, we come out with the proposal. We try to propose sustainable, livable, and resilient cities that everyone can live. So the main objective of our grant during that time was to examine the resilient and urban future of different type of planning plans, which we will look at into various policy and planning documents. We also explore the role of housing builders in influencing the resilient and urban future in terms of urban formation and infrastructure development. At the end of the project, we propose a framework or policy that can be used as a guidance for policymaker or industry to produce or planning for future cities in the context of urban future in Malaysia. Of course, when we design our project, we actually based on the sustainable development goal, particularly in the goal 11. If you look at into my slide, the goal 11 particularly emphasize on the affordable housing, sustainable and resilient building. We also look at into the human settlement planning, and also poor and people in vulnerable. This is in terms of the international context or international document. We also looking into our in the Malaysian context, we do have during the time national housing policy and various development plans such as national physical plan at the federal level, structure plan at the state level, and also we do have local plan at the local authority level. And recently, the new launch is National Community Policy. This is also in line with our aim and objective of this research project. So this is the basis for our project during that time. So just a little bit about our study area. So our project is conducted mainly in Greater Klang Valley. It was involved 1,500 participants involved in the survey. And also we interviewed more than dozens of stakeholder, policymaker, government agency, private sector, NGOs, and community leaders. And also we also conducted focus group discussion with various agencies and ministries as well. So this is just overview of our study area. So what we found in our project, based on 1,500 respondents, we actually divided our finding into 3 dimensions, which is environmental dimension, neighborhood dimension, facilities and amenities dimensions. These are amongst the most important dimensions that can be used by the policymaker or industry player to produce sustainable, livable, and resilient city in the future. Of course, the result is more comprehensive, but for today, for the purpose for today's presentation, I will just put a couple of indicators under each of the dimensions. For instance, if you look at into the environmental dimensions, most of the respondents saying that the governments or the industry builder need to look at more focus on the traffic, water supply, flood, haze, noise pollution, and air pollution. And all of this is ranking from high to low in terms of their importance indicator. Yeah. The second dimension is neighborhood dimensions. So most of the respondents in industry that we interviewed need to emphasize. They're saying that the government need to emphasize on the more conducive place for them to live, improve in terms of facilities and services, provide more provisions for more green area, and more green technology, increase in terms of safety, and more increase in terms of connectivity and accessibility. The third dimension is facilities and amenities dimensions. The respondent that we interview, they kind of like one clinic or hospital nearby with their housing area, followed by school, and also accessible to public transportations, convenience store, and so on and so forth. Yeah? So this is the intangible output that we found in our project. In terms of economic and employment, most of the respondents mentions about for instance, number one, for instance, availability of shop. Most of the respondents or majority of respondents feel that the shop is available, readily available in the city center or nearby with their housing area, and also the employment opportunity is also quite good in within their area. So we also ask respondents into what community they like the most. For instance, they mentioned about environment. This was ranked for number one. Second is open spaces. Third is community relationship. Fourth, facilities and amenities. Followed by economy, transportation, housing, social, and culture. So this is what they like the most in their community. We also, because when we talk about resilient and sustainable city, we need to particularly look at into the housing components of it, because housing is the major component in the city. Yeah? So we ask them in terms of their planning whether they want to buy house in the future or not, so that the policymaker can plan, can predict what type of house they want in the future. So majority of them, more than 50%, saying that they did not want to buy a second house in the future. But those who want to buy, 41.3%, they're saying that they will buy, a majority of them will buy more than 1 to 5 years from now. So meaning that this project was end in 2017, so maybe starting from 2022. Yeah. So what type of future house they want? This is quite important as well for the local authority to look at into when it comes to planning for new housing project. Normally, majority of the respondents saying they want double-story terrace housing, followed by apartment and condominium, and then single stories, and followed last but not least as townhouse and studio apartments. Yeah. So this is, but I want to emphasize here that 42% of our respondent mentions about the current housing price is not affordable at all in Malaysia. Hence, the neighborhood is not become sustainable or livable for them to live in. Yeah. So I'm talking about the intangible output just now, but in terms of tangible output from our project is that this is quite the spotlight from our project, where under Dr. Johnson sub-program, he actually managed to produce eco-friendly material for housing productions. This material can construct affordable housing or green affordable housing at the cost of RM 30,000 ringgit, compared to the normal market, maybe up to 50 to 100,000 ringgit. So this output actually has been published in the newspaper, I think in 2017, and the product is from kelapa sawit, and I will explain a little bit. Yeah. And for instance, this is the friendly, environmental friendly building material for affordable housing. We started with the steel slide aggregate and palm oil clinker. This is the factory productions, delivery of bricks, and followed by ongoing constructions. The ongoing constructions, the model house is located at the engineering faculty. On top of that, one other sub-program looking into the conservations for effective aging and heritage building. It's developed from development of high volume palm oil fuel as blended mortar. My co-researcher will explain about this later on because it's quite technical for me to explain. Yeah. Okay. So this is the product from from the eco-friendly material just now that I explained just now. So it's this only costs 30,000 ringgit, roughly around 30,000 ringgit, Malaysia ringgit. So our project not only produce intangible output, but we do have these partnerships with various stakeholders. For instance, one of it is MOU with Alliance Precast Industry, 20 March 2017, by Faculty of Engineering UM and API. On top of that, we also have collaborations with a lot of community in the Klang Valley area. We do our internationalizations, which we have conducted international conference on livable, resilient, competitive cities. This was done back in 2018. We invited YB Fahmi Fazil as opening address, keynote address, ambassador of Netherlands to Malaysia, and also invited Professor Muhammad Zila from Indonesia. So the participant was quite good. We also got participants from international as well during that time. So we try to produce sustainable city. I hope this can be used by the policymaker to understand what are the main challenges and constraint or barrier when it comes to sustainable development or resilient city. Number one, of course, some of the local authority that we interview show elusive in understanding sustainability concept, and at the moment there is no legal binding on the concept. Constraint in terms of facilities, capital, and knowledge. This also include financial capabilities of from local authorities, difficulties in enforce awareness on sustainability development, and then in terms of coordination from federal, state, and local authority as well. So these are among the issues or the challenges faced by the policymaker when it comes to the implementation of sustainable and livable city. So this is something that I would like to highlight as well in this project. Actually, we already come out with this document. It's a more than 100 pages document. Initially, the idea was to produce the blueprint towards resilient, livable, and sustainable city in Malaysia with all the data we have and also the survey that we already conducted. But due to unforeseen circumstances, I would say the changes of the government during that time, it was not we're not able to proceed with this blueprint. But this is something that we want to look forward in the future, of course, in terms of funding as well, because it cannot be published at the current form. It needs to do some sort of editing. This is quite comprehensive blueprint already. We have this, but make it this 100 pages, include all the output from the OSAP program. Okay, so the takeaway for practice is the policy brief. We already come out with a policy brief that include all the components to produce sustainable cities and sustainable resilient city, from land use, social and culture, housing, transportation, environment, public facility and services, open spaces and recreation area, and also economy. All of these components also embedded in the blueprint that we proposed just now. So what are the way forward beyond publications? We are looking into potential partners to materialize the blueprint and also the outputs from this project. We looking more engagement with various agencies to get input in terms of the dimension, especially how to produce and how to produce sustainable, livable, resilient cities. We want to collaborate with local communities. This is to do pilot project from the blueprint, from the proposed blueprint that already planned earlier, and also Habitat for Humanity, NGO partner, press conference to disseminate our finding. Of course, earlier we have this, the work has been published in the international newspaper, but there's a lot of findings from this project still not be published. And then planning plan for urban future. This is in term framework, policy brief, and also the blueprint. That has a good potential to be carried on later on. I would like to acknowledge this project as well, even though in terms of the publication, we published more than 20, but still, the publication is still coming in. For instance, this year alone, we managed to publish 2 WIS journal this year from this project, and 4 PhD students. We had 5 networking, 3 partners with us, and 4 community partners also with us. With that, I thank you. I think that's all from our project. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Peter. I think it's a very, very interesting and very comprehensive explanation about this program. Yeah? I can see that it really covers a wide range of aspects, in terms of outcome, output, and also the impact, I think. So, and I also quite surprised that almost half of the from your survey, half could not afford to buy houses. I thought that I just listened to my sons that we couldn't afford buying houses in the future. Maybe we stay with you, maybe we stay with you, Mak, Ibu. So I think, but we also maybe can relieve a bit, because we can see that also your team have established or produced the low cost houses, right? So how the developers take on this? I mean, the low house, they profit is the most important to them. So did you make any survey on how developers think about this low cost greenhouses?
Yeah, that is something that I would like to highlight here. During that time, we wanted to present this to the Ministry of Housing and local government, but due to the government, during 2018, everything was put on hold. And then the retired Professor Tewakari Izami retired. We not proceed the output to the ministry. But we're looking forward actually to still to present the findings to the ministry to get their input, especially from the housing developer. Yeah, but at the moment we do not get the input from them.
Oh, okay. Maybe we need to. Okay. And also this blueprint do you still at the stage of I mean, like giving an effort to materialize this blueprint?
Yeah, actually the blueprint is already completed, but I would say it's not ready in the current form because there's a lot of editing. To be honest, we still try to find some finding to make it ready, but it's more than 100 pages blueprint. I would say it's very comprehensive, include all the sub-programs output in the blueprint and also the proposal, the pilot project, that potential pilot project can be done.
Yeah, very wide spectrum,
Yeah, but because the limited of findings, so we cannot proceed with the blueprint. Yeah, so hopefully that we can get some partners to materialize the blueprint.
Yeah. So we hope that anyone here or from our investor partners can maybe give suggestions to your team later, maybe not now or later. Yeah, and also maybe I don't know. Yeah, very, very interesting. But maybe more effort on this to materialize all this. Okay. All right. So any questions from the floor? Okay, I think that's all for you, Dr. Peter. Thank you so much for your very, very fruitful presentation, and we wish you and the team all the best. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very
Dr.
much.
Peter.
Thank you, Prof.
Bye. Okay, so now I proceed with the next speaker for the FRG recipient, Associate Professor Dr. Chanchi Seng, from Department of Artificial Intelligence, Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology, or FSCPTM, who will be presenting on connecting visual impairment society with big data and image captioning approach. Dr. Chen, the screen is yours.
Yes, thank you. I would like to share. I would like to share the screens. See. Give me a sec. Still not allow me to share the screens.
Yana, can you check? We already allow you as a presenter, Doctor.
Okay. Seems that's not.
Seems not.
Yeah. Just keep on churning and. Yeah, I still struggle to share the screens. Probably I can share the slides to the university. Is it much more easier?
Yeah, Yana, can you do that? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yana, may I know your contact? How do I share with you? I mean,
You just email to me, Doctor. I'll text you.
okay.
Oh, we already have it, Yana. I thought there's in the...
No, we don't have a slide from Dr. Chan.
Oh yeah. We don't have
Sorry,
your slide.
Prof, for your information, because now I'm seconded to MOSTI.
I see.
I'm
busy.
seconded to MOSTI, and eventually now I'm in the parliament, so I will not able to share the screens because I'm with my ministers now.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I mean, I have asked permission for him to do these presentations. For half an hour, so he has allowed that. So I think probably something security in the parliament, so they don't allow me to share the screen. I'm not sure. But anyway, I mean, I'm sorry on behalf of everyone. Just probably if the next speaker is ready, probably we can go ahead first, so that we won't waste other people's time. Then I'll come back in 10 minutes when I settle this with the Urus here. So with Prof, your permission, is that okay? And also for the next speaker as well. I mean, if he, he is ready, or else.
Yeah, the next speaker, Prof. Saida.
Yes, I think she's ready, Prof.
Prof. Saida, are you ready for the presentation?
Yes, I try to come up.
Okay, yeah, Prof. Saida. So, Dr. Chu, we will get back to you. Dr. Chen, sorry. We'll get back to you later, yeah?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry for this, everyone.
No problem. All right, no problem. We don't know that you are there in the parliament.
My presentation, but maybe Yana already sent to Yana. Please, Yana.
Yes.
Okay,
sure.
Prof. Saida, maybe I can introduce you first. All right. So, sorry about Dr. Chen just now. She's actually in the parliament. So, we move to the next speaker. Another, I think, UMGC on world without conflict and pushing economic borders. Yeah. So the title, Towards a Progressive Society and Capacity for Peace. The program leader is actually Prof. Dr. Raihana Haji Abdullah, but today Prof. Dr. Saida Siraj is going to present on behalf of the team. And Prof is actually from Department of Curriculum and Instructional Technology, Faculty of Education. So without further ado, please welcome Prof. Saida.
Yeah, thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Dermaniza. Allow me to present as soon as possible. I'm Professor Dr. Saida Siraj from Faculty of Education, and will represent Professor Datin Dr. Raihana Abdullah, who is the program leader for this title, Towards a Progressive Society and Capacity for Peace. So this is our project to create peace within society. Okay, we have next slide. We have 5 sub-programs here. One is myself, building peace through intercultural education and interfaith dialogue or ethnic relation. And second, lead by Prof. Datin Dr. Raihana herself, empowering women and youth in promoting peace. And the third one is Prof. Dr. Rosli bin Rambi from Science Faculty, lead the peaceful coexistence Malaysia's human-animal conflicts policy and pathway. And the fourth one is lead by Associate Professor Dr. Asma Abdul Rahman, the role of peace towards economic and political stability. And the fifth one is lead by Dr. Widawati Muhammad Razi from Sport, leisurely pursuit of peace, the role of recreational activities in peace building agenda. And we start with the problem. With the problem here, I think, maybe that's graphical extract first. So that is the 5 sub-program on the left, and the various method that we use in order to collect data and also to come up with models, and maybe finding. So research methodology we use is interview, training, societal engagement modules, developing modules and models using using fuzzy data method, analytical hierarchical processing, and also interpretive structural modeling. Okay, next. Next, Farhana. Okay. So I think this is an old
It's okay, Prof. Hold on, yeah.
Yeah, okay. This is an old slide. Okay, never mind. So we start with the peace problem in the whole world because we realize that the world is suffering from many forms of devastation, such as economic disasters, political disasters, natural disasters. The Global Peace Index, which has been to rate and identify the obstacles and solutions to the peace building process over the past 7 years, has concluded that the world has become less peaceful since 2008. So, since then, 111 countries have deteriorated in level of peace, while only 51 have improved. So this is the problem. And then next, Diana. So the solution here, we try to come out. We believe that peace contributed by various actors, including human beings and animals, and need to be built with systematic program and modules. With that, next, I think we already come up with the graphical abstract. Yeah, next, Diana. Our aim is of this project is actually to identify and then analyze and offer progressive solutions to the problem of acquiring international peace through a comprehensive and holistic approach at the grassroots level of human interaction and development by various methods, with focusing on the interaction between people through the multiple facets of their human well-being and interaction in the global environment. So that is for for the aim of 5 projects. So there are achievements here. Maybe next, Yana, the achievement finding from our project. We have 4 new modules and modules of peace for education, and also in order to come out the awareness of society for that to aware of peace. They need peace in their life. And we have also finding from the project 4 on economic factors contributing to peace economic, where they found that high levels of human capital, good relation with neighbors, and acceptance of the right of others. And the third one also, we found that women and youth play a very significant role in peace building. And number 4 is the formulation of specific policy and mitigation technique in minimizing the impact of wildlife conflict, because our research or project is not only for human being but also peace for wildlife. And the last one is guideline for women and youth empowerment and encouragement as agent of peace, including sports and recreation. Okay, next we also have a few publication, even though not many, but we're proud of it because we have book here, 5 international books and 4 national book, and proceedings, chapters in book, newspapers also, poster, national and international, and also we have 7 PhD students and 4 master students based on this project. And here related publication in our related news and magazine, and that's the pictures of news that come out from this project. We made mutual agreement also. Next, we made mutual agreement with the following institution and organization. So we number 1 is we come up with agreement MOU between Institute of Youth Research Malaysia and University of Malaya. That's our project. And MOU between College University of Parahikmah Indonesia and University of Malaya means our project also. And the letter of intention between Perkim, Sibu Sarawak, and Grand Challenge Empowering Women and Engaging Youth in Promoting Peace. So these are the pictures related to our agreement as evidences that we already went there and then discuss and also doing a signed agreement. Next. We also build society engagement instead of conduct research, but we also come up with society engagement with several parties. They are as follow. Maybe one is Malaysia's Santun Pelarian Rohingya. This is very interesting activities, peace and educational activities with Rohingya refugee. And also we have Arabic language youth peace campaign and mini seminar on women's empowerment for a culture of peace. And also we have um, uh, peace education with treasure hunt. That's from Universiti Malaya and one of the settlement in somewhere near University of Malaya, and Jumbo Sales for Peace, and also wildlife awareness program at schools. And also we have Jelajah Seni Nusantara, University Malaya and Universiti Negeri Padang, and Merdeka Award Roundtable on Peace, and we have also Panda Fund Run for Peace. So that's the society engagement. We have many, but that's all that we can report. These are the related pictures of the activities that we have engaged. And next, we have also pictures on Benkil or workshop that we conduct, come out with the models and modules. And next is our DOLF project in our with special student, with special needs student. They sing and we are very proud of them. And also our animals. And the last pictures is the project of Professor Rosalie. Okay, next is our project wouldn't be meaningful without a long-term implementation plan with the society. Next, Yana. Yeah, this is the we conducted training with the use of peace training workshop and mediation training course, and also publishing in ISI top journal workshop focus on peace education and peace project. Okay, next this is pictures. Next are pictures of our workshop that we have to give evidence here. Okay, very interesting workshop. And next is we also succeed in designing peace models and modules that complete our whole framework. The modules one, development of the juvenile detainee peace education module for juvenile detainee in Malaysia. So our researcher went to the jail to see the juvenile detainee, and we try to come up with a module so that they can implement the module, and then at last we come up with this module of juvenile detainee peace education. So the second one is developing an intergenerational curriculum module based on skill sharing. We share the skills between the adult people, elderly people, and school students, means secondary schools, and also elementary schools children. Also, this is very interesting where they change their skill, for example, and old people can give how to do craft and everything. And also the children can teach the elderly in computer skill and so on. Okay, the third one is development of peace education curriculum content. So this is we only develop the curriculum content for preschools, where we need to do peace education from the beginning at preschools, and succeed in come up with the module of peace education curriculum. And the third one is psychosocial adjustment to peace ration among multi-ethnic. Okay, and this is the example of development of the juvenile detainee peace education. And next is the example, the pictures for that. And also next is the example of curriculum content model for peace, where we use interpretive structural modeling until we come up with this model with evolution as well. And also our project can be implemented into the following policies and is beneficial for decision making. One is maybe we come up with in the future use impact, strengthening organizational capacities to building peace in Malaysia. Project is an organizational capacity development project to improve monitoring, evaluation and learning capacities of youth peace organization. Second, women as the agent of peace and harmony and intercultural dialogue. And the third one is project conducted design and development study, example developing module for peace among school students, including intergenerational program. These studies refer to general organizational processes to identify needs, conduct context analysis, define goals, assess alternative courses of action, and make collective strategies. Next, this is a potential. Furthermore, this is a peace project has outstanding potentials, benefit, which are as follows. One is policy guideline in maintaining peace for social, and second is guideline for women and youth empowerment, and third one is model to be implemented in the society and also schools, and the formulation of specific policy and mitigation technique in minimizing the impact of wildlife conflict. And there are several challenges that should be considered to ensure the successful implementation of the peace project. They are international market, copyright, to get the copyright and patent, and it's quite difficult to come up with the society awareness. The overall challenge are peace building happens in an insecure, particularly fragile, and therefore challenging environment. Funding's need, the number of actors involved, and their priorities and objectives, and people's expectation of the benefit of peace building, all these present additional challenge. Next is looking into the potentiality of the peace project. There is a need of bringing into implementation of a larger scale. We can conduct like campaign. The input of our project can be published in book, bulletin, and news. Last but not least, there is also a need to build an organization that specifies in managing a peaceful and conclusive society. Last but not least, our team cannot work alone, so we are planning for future collaboration to bring this project into the local and global society. We have a list of collaboration in the future. Perkhidmatan di BKL and BPJ, Kementerian Perpaduan Negara, Kementerian Pendidikan, Center of Peace, Birmingham, University of Maldives, National Education Sri Lanka, Kashmir, India, and so on. So next, this summary outlook of our project, the Grand Challenge Research. That is a visit. We visited Birmingham, visited Naples, Sweden, and India. And summary outlook. Next, the Grand Challenge Research was completed in 2018. The Grand Challenge Research has allowed us to expand the network of our collaboration with other international organizations around the world, such as KAICID. In 2019, Prof. Datin Rahana Abdullah joined KAICID as an international fellow, and 2020, Social Professor Dr. Wendy and Dr. Ramzi joined. And also, Prof. Saida was elected as the chairperson of the Advisory Committee International Conference on Global Peace through Emotional Literacy, Wellness, Psychology of Workplace Behavior, and Effective People Management 2018 at Naples. So this international collaboration have enabled us to share our research interests with more like-minded people, expanding the network of peace across the world. Let me end with the motto of peace. That has been our guide throughout the whole project. Peace is the way, peace is the key for a better world for you and me. Peace talk now, peace talk today, peace tomorrow. Let us not drown this world in sorrow. Please, peace today, peace tomorrow, peace will be prevent much sorrow. With that, thank you very much.
Wow. Okay. Thank you, Prof. Saida. A very interesting project, and also very much close to us. Yeah, peaceful. We need to have a peaceful mind, peaceful everything now, especially in this pandemic situation. Yeah. So I open the floor to questions. Any questions to Prof. Saida and team? Okay, maybe I can give one to two questions to you, Prof.
Yeah, only one.
Oh, only one. Okay, so I can see that this project has ended like quite 2-3 years ago. Yeah. So is there? I also see some of the modules. Like for example, JUPAD. So has this module or policies suggested has been extended to relevant ministries or authorities? Yeah, this question.
Like this module, we would like a few modules what we like to present or submit to the Kementerian Perpaduan Negara, and also maybe for the Kementerian Wanita and Keluarga, and also Kementerian Pendidikan as well, like curriculum for peace, because we should start our program for peace during the still children, especially in the tadika and also for pengasuhan.
So this engagement has been initiated.
Yeah, we try, but because of PKP, so difficult for us. Yeah, for us to go there and bring our suggestion. Inshallah, Prof.
Soon, yeah, the MCO is already been lifted. Okay. Okay, so I also, maybe you can share with us briefly, Prof. I see a very interesting statement here. Women and youth are the agent of peace.
Yeah.
Maybe you can explain just briefly in what aspect women and youth contribute to that.
Actually, a woman is a leader of spiritual in the family. So is an
here will be
if start from the family, if the peace come out from the family, so it will some sort of sunrise to the whole society. But if women have no peace at home, so the family will be ruined. That's why we believe that women play significantly role in order to come up with peace in the family and then in the society as well as a nationwide, as well as the youth, because that's why we come up with the research on youth because youth actually they have also the significant role in peace, because if we try to introduce them with sport and recreational, we believe that they will they will they will in the situation of peace, and so that they can talk with other peoples and they have members and so on. That's why we are also emphasize the use as a significant agent, a significant agent of peace, inshallah.
Okay. All right, so any more questions? Okay, I think no more questions.